welcome into the Friday edition of the Second Half Draft Show. I am your host, Shoes, joined by Headley and Drew, and we're nearing the end of our team-specific 7-round mock draft series. We're at pick 29, 30, and 31 tonight. We have the Lions, the Ravens, and the 49ers, respectively. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into it. We're getting started a little bit late here, so let's jump into the mock draft. And as I'm loading things up here, Drew, what's your thoughts in terms of Detroit? They don't have very many needs here. They could potentially go best player available. What do you think?
Yeah, man, them boys made a lot of moves, man. They got Kevin Zeitler at right guard because one of the concerns was going into this offseason was their interior. Looks like they kind of may have essentially fixed that for the meantime. I guess on the short end of that. Got some beef in the middle in DJ Reader from Cincinnati, and got Marcus Davenport from Minnesota. And then they traded for Carlton Davis. Secondary was probably their biggest concern, right, going into this offseason. And them boys traded for Carlton Davis, I think, for a third-round pick, fourth-round pick, something like that. Yeah. And then also signed Amik Robertson as their other corner. So
Brad Holmes, man.
Listen, they've effectively, like we say for free agency, it's either you're trying to fill big holes, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're trying to fill holes so when you go into the draft, you can you're not like pigeonholed to one particular position, right? You can kind of do what you want, especially if best player available falls to you. You can just kind of take them versus having to skip out on because you got a big ass hole somewhere else. So, yeah, bro, this might be the team right here, man. This might be the team. I'm Lions fans feeling real good, So I would be anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's got to be exciting to be a Lions fan right now. They're pushing all the right buttons. Campbell has them believing on the field, and Brad Holmes is he's hitting more than not. You know what I'm saying, in terms of his roster moves here. So this is a team that could stand to move up if they feel strongly about a particular prospect on either side of the ball. They could, they're half away from a Super Bowl berth, first Super Bowl berth in franchise history. You might want to push your chips in the middle of the table and go for it right here. So, Headley, before I hit the start button, any thoughts on a particular player for this team that you'd be willing to trade up for?
Not a particular player, but maybe an edge opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I know you brought in Marcus Davenport, but it's a lot of great edges, man. Those top three guys, Verse, Latu, and Dallas Turner. If one of them start to fall, those would be the three guys that I'm looking at, man, to shore up that pass rush. Because coming in, like Drew said, the secondary and the pass rush and the interior offensive line, I thought those are the three biggest needs. They addressed it in free agency, but they could go get somebody that could put them over the top, man, opposite Aiden Hutchinson. So that's what I'll be looking at for the Lions.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, at what point do you think, you'd be considering moving up? Is it into the middle of the first round here? Do you mortgage the farm to move into the top 10? What do you do?
Yeah, probably too much to go into the top 10. But if I see somebody like Latu falling around like in the 18s, 19s to 20 range, I think that'd be a perfect place to trade up and go snag him, man.
Okay. All right, let's get it underway. See what happens. Of course, Mr. Prasky is suggesting moving back. First Turner off the board in the top 10 here.
See, yeah. Might let it ride out there.
Yeah, you still got Joe Alt on the board, so that we're not necessarily anticipating him getting out of the top 10, but certainly, it's tough. It's tough because there is a tier break there as far as the edges are concerned. We kind of have those three together. Latu's actually our top defensive player in the class, and then of course, I know Headley, you like Verse as edge 2. I like Dallas Turner as edge 2. That's when it kind of differs, but the top 3 is those 3 players along the edge. So we'll continue to let it go, see what happens, see if he slides to maybe 16 here, at which point we'll get on the phone with Mr. C. Prasky. Oh, landed with the New Orleans Saints at 14. So now with those top edges off the board at this point, right? With the top edges gone, do you stay put? Do you pivot to a different position group? I think this team could use an X. I think they could use an X. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously, he and Sam Laporta, that's where the passing game kind of starts with those two. I do expect Jameson Williams to take another step, but he's a Z. You know what I'm saying? He's a top, take the top off the defense guy. I think they need a physical presence there on the boundary to really, open up this offense, take it to another dimension. You understand what I'm saying? So I think Adonai Mitchell could certainly fit the bill. He's not necessarily known for being an overly physical receiver, but the requisite physicality to play the X, and certainly he's a good route runner as well. Demonstrated that he has a good speed, top end speed during the combine. So, is he a player that you wait on, or and I'm not sure that he'd be available at 29, or do you get aggressive about that X?
I think you wait, man. I think you wait a couple more picks, see what happens. I don't think you got to press with these guys, man. I know. For me, I'm just chilling, bro. I'm just chilling and just.
I hear you.
Whatever happens. Again, if there's a guy maybe 2-3 picks before that, we're like, ooh, let's see what we can do. But otherwise, just chill, man.
Okay. All right. Let's let it unfold
work.
a little bit more here. See what happens. Murphy, Wiggins, Mims, Fuaga, Latham, McKinstry. So Mitchell certainly is still in play at this point.
Still there.
Robinson, Powers, Johnson, Guyton, Newton, and Darius Robinson. So didn't have to trade up. Mitchell's in play. We've noticed a bit of a trend here where Brock Bowers sliding. Laporta put on a show last year, right? So no big need there. As we look at everybody on the board, obviously some of the top players here are those Texas receivers. Cooper DeJean's on the board as well, right? Again, what the Lions have done in free agency, it certainly isn't a pressing need, but it wouldn't hurt to add a player like that. I think Cooper DeJean is going to be widely considered the top safety in this class. If you view him that way, and certainly he's a good zone corner in his own right. Up front on the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned affecting the passer. Probably a bit too soon for the names that we have here. I've seen people moving Braden Fisk into the first round, man. I've seen him climbing up the boards. I don't feel quite that way, but I think he doesn't. I think he gets selected, in the top half, middle part of the second round. What are your thoughts here, Drew?
My pick probably would have been Darius Robinson. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's probably who I would have been targeting, but obviously he's not there. So it's between Cooper DeJean and Adonai Mitchell. I know, like you said, they've kind of essentially fixed their secondary, but you can never have too many.
Yeah.
And I'm leaning Cooper DeJean more than Adonai Mitchell just because the receiver. I mean, both positions are deep. But I'm leaning a little bit more. Yes, exceptionally.
He was exceptionally deep. Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite. If you put those two players, if you put those two players on the board for me, it'd be Adonai Mitchell over Cooper DeJean, and it's because of what the Lions have at the safety position. You drafted Brian Bash last season. He's going to be that slot. I like Kirby Joseph on the back end, and I like Melifonwu also. I thought Melifonwu had a pretty good season last year.
Really good season.
Played really well. So you got your three safeties right there. In this defense, I don't think Cooper DeJean will be an outside corner. They play a lot of man principles. That's why you bring in Carlton Davis to man that man. So a corner would be nice, or a three-tech pass rusher. You brought in DJ Reader, big body, plays really good against the run. If like a Byron Murphy or somebody like that falls, that'd be a selection. But I'm not sure who's the D tackles on the board right now. I didn't see the D tackles.
Oh, Fitz, Sweat, Jenkins are your top players based on the mock draft simulator here, their rankings. I think if you're non-committal about what's on the board right here, based on what transpired, and to your point, Drew, we probably should have turned our attention to Darius Robinson or maybe a Chop Robinson, right? If you're comfortable with him playing, and at least initially more in obvious passing down situations, because I think he has some more development that needs to take place as far as his body filling out for early downs. But Detroit's in that kind of position where they can go specialized in that manner. But I think based on what's available, unless you are bullish on Mitchell in terms of being that last piece of the offense, or really going with an embarrassment of riches in terms of your secondary, you could trade down. You could stand to trade down here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking at Adonai Mitchell. You know, he's a top 5 receiver for me in this class. You know, the route running, the size. You say we're looking for that X receiver. Put him with Jameson Williams and Amon St. Brown. Yeah, that's kind of the guy. I think it might be a little tear break after him if you're looking for that X receiver. You know,
Sure.
Xavier Worthy's more Z, Lab McConkley more in the slot, Roman Wilson more in the slot. You know, so Keon Coleman, he could potentially be an X receiver for you, but yeah, right now I have Adonai Mitchell over Keon Coleman, so that would be the guy that I'm targeting. But if you want to trade down, you know, I'm with it too.
Yeah, the only concern here would be potentially Baltimore because they're obviously in the market for an X receiver as well.
Mhm.
They've been looking for that for quite some time, so I can understand why we want to stay put. So I'm gonna give you another opportunity to make your case for Cooper DeJean right here, man. I'm gonna give you another opportunity.
No. I'm good with Adnan, bro. If that's
You sure?
let's roll with it. Yeah, because I mean, Headley kind of spoke to it in terms of the fit. I was thinking I didn't realize they played so much man. I thought they played I thought it was a good mix that they did over there. But if you're telling me it's a lot of man, then I'm a back off because I was thinking Cooper was going to play outside corner, but again, if they're playing a lot of man, then I think you got to do the right thing.
Not necessarily an ideal fit there from that
Right.
perspective. I get it.
Right.
I get it. And I think you play more man to simplify things, I think.
Yeah.
Right? This is your guy. Just make sure you get lined up. Understand who your responsibility is as opposed to passing off, you know, guys that are running mesh routes and crossing your face in zone. And
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? But they didn't necessarily have the horses at corner. You know what I mean? So based on what they've done here in the offseason, they're in better shape to play, I guess, the man type of defense that Aaron Glenn ultimately wants to play. So let's go with Adonai Mitchell here.
You got guys getting arrested, dodging cops, search warrants, and all that.
Cam Sutton
in the damn secondary. So, you know,
I think we can still add another corner later on in this class because it's a deep class.
I think they do that regardless.
Yeah, they got to add another corner and 3-tech. I think a 3-tech. You know, you're gonna have like a Chris Jenkins or Michael Hall Jr. right there for you, with your 2nd round pick. So
yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Baltimore offering us a 4th and a 7th in order to move up one spot here. I listen. They may say, "Listen, Trenton Simpson, we love you, but Edgerrin Cooper is on the board." What next? Of course, edge. Of course, we're thinking pass rusher, right? Jonah Ellis, Adissa Isaac. Of course, we got Brandon Dorless. Austin Booker would be interesting, as well as Gabriel Murphy. We could probably wait on those guys until 73, though. The other thing I thought about with this team, is you mentioned a 3 technique. Michael Hall fits the bill for sure. Is just kind of preparing for what's to come down the road, right? Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, you know, last years of their respective contracts. Of course, with Sewell, you have the 5th-year option, but I expect him to be the highest paid offensive tackle in the league, right? I think they're going to get that done. So Decker may be the odd man out there. So you need to think about, okay, who's going to play right tackle? Because I would imagine they move Sewell over to left tackle once Decker is gone. You know what I mean? Of course, you mentioned at the beginning here, Drew, that they bring in Kevin Zeitler to replace Jonah Jackson. Well, it's a 1-year deal, right? So who's going to be the heir apparent there? So I think there are, you know, Ross St. Brown is scheduled for a contract extension, right? Goff is scheduled for a contract extension. So you're going to have to dole out some cash here. So somebody is going to be the odd man out. So we got to kind of think about, what are we going to do moving forward? You know, how are we going to address things beyond 2024 as well?
Yeah, I'm looking at
now that you said that, go to interior O-line real quick. Let me just see what's.
Got Pooney, Van Pran, Mahogany, Zinter, Mason McCormick, Bo Littman from Arkansas.
Okay.
How about the tackles? You talking about Taylor Decker on this last year, his contract.
Yeah.
You got Patrick Paul, Keyron from Yale, Blake Fisher, Rosengarten getting a lot of love lately out there. Christian Jones from Texas.
Okay, so we got
and we don't have a 4th round selection. I think this trade with Baltimore would actually net us the 4th round selection that we don't have. So I'm in favor of taking that trade.
Make that trade.
So let's
see who they want.
That. They went with Rook.
Okay.
Like that. Good deal.
Green Bay.
Hey, D-Kid. Got something for you, bro.
As is New England and Arizona. All right. I would put a pin in the New England offer here. So obviously just one player comes off the board here. What are your thought processes? Adrian Cooper's still out there. You put him next to Jack Campbell, although they've made the commitment to Anzalone. Anzalone's playing good football, so you don't necessarily have to go in that direction.
It's two guys I'm looking at right here for this football team. Michael Hall Jr., like you said, we're looking for that 3 tech. Put him next to DJ Reader, Aiden Hutchinson, Davenport, that you brought in. I love the fit right there for Detroit. And I'm looking at Max Melton, the corner. You know, they brought in Robertson. You trade for Carlton Davis, but you need a third corner. You know, your other corner, like you say, he was running from the police out there, man. So, I seen it on the news, man. You know, Channel 4, he was out there, man. But
wow, Channel 4, bro.
Yeah, but I like Max Melton. He fits what Aaron Glenn's trying to do. He's a physical corner. He can play the inside or the outside. So, you know, Max Melton will be another option right there for Detroit.
You know, Mr. C. Prasley's mentioning Cooper and Colson here, and I wonder, based on what we've seen of Brad Holmes and the fact that, you know, Detroit ultimately could just go best player available, would they make that decision? You know, I think I like Cooper more than Campbell, to be perfectly honest with you. Of course, they invested a first-round pick in him, so he's clearly part of their long-term plans. But Cooper's ability to affect the passer obviously could be calculated in there. So it's just an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting dynamic. They may just buck the trend in terms of position need. You know, even if it's not an immediate need, maybe even if it's more of a need for 2025, they may buck that all together and just go BPA purely. So I like the idea of Michael Hall. I certainly like the player in Max Melton. You do need that third corner, but then again, our safety, our nickel extraordinaire, becomes your third corner, right? And Brian Branch. So again, you could certainly make the case for Max Melton, but I probably would lean a little bit more towards Michael Hall here. And again, I just want to make sure that we're aware. We do have this offer. Where is it? Where is that offer? We do have this offer to slide down 6 spots, add a 4 and a 6 as well.
Yeah, I think I'm leading Michael Hall Jr. Over the trade down. You know, Root just came off the board to Baltimore.
Sure.
You know, he's another guy that I was looking to fit that interior. And I just don't want to miss out on Michael Hall Jr. because after that, it would be probably maybe Leonard Taylor the second. Or is it third? Leonard Taylor the third? Is he the third or the second?
I believe it's the third.
Third. Leonard Taylor the third. So, but yeah, I like Michael Hall Jr. here, man. That'll be my selection.
I agree. Michael Hall Jr., man. I think this is a Dan Campbell guy, bro. I don't think you can miss
Let's
here.
do it.
It's got to be Michael Hall.
Put Michael Hall next to DJ Reader up front.
That's some damage, bro. That's a lot of disruption. That's a lot of frustration.
When he came off the board,
a lot of confusion up front with those two guys, man.
So we're here at 73, and then our next selection is we got a bit of a wait. We got a bit of a wait. 57 picks. Selections. Yeah, effectively 60 picks. Here's what your corners look like: Abrams Drain, Cam Hart, DJ James, Kyrie Jackson, Carson Green. There's Mr. C. Prasley's guy, Kalen King. So obviously a lot of corners here. And we imagine we could still get a quality one if we waited there. Going back to the edge, listen. These, I'm not sure these 4 will be available, right? And Dorless isn't necessarily your traditional edge bendy guy, but you know how flexible he is along your defensive line. You can do a lot of different things with him. On the offensive line, you got Van Pran, who's a center, but Mahogany, Zenter, McCormick, even Cohen is somebody I would consider perhaps a little bit later if we don't necessarily go that direction here. Do you add a Kieran here? Let him develop behind Decker and Sewell?
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have to throw him out there to the wolves.
Yeah, give him an opportunity to just learn the craft. You know what I mean? I think that's a legitimate consideration here as well.
Yeah.
So if you go Kieran here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you go interior O line, I guess anybody you pick here is well, at least the two offensive linemen are going to sit. But if you go corner, that's a person that's probably going to play way more than either one of the offensive linemen that you're that you would draft here. And then again, if we draft one position, we're effectively missing out on the other two, and it's a tier or two drop off after that, right? The corner position, that may necessarily not be true because it's so
no,
deep.
I maintain that this is a deep corner class, right? Again, we don't necessarily have guys that are no brainer, top 5 selections, right? But top to bottom, I love the depth of this class. And again, I think what Detroit has done in the offseason in free agency gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of when you want to select the corner. Now, if you have an opportunity to add a Nate Wiggins or a Terrion Arnold or even a Kool-Aid, I wouldn't hesitate. And as fearfully confident mentioned here, Renardo Green, I don't know that he's going to be available at 130, but certainly he has been, right? He's ranked at 120. He's a guy that I would be comfortable taking at 130. You know what I'm saying? There's quite a few of those guys. Elijah Jones, Jerry and Jones, there's quite a few. Josh Newton, there's a lot of those guys out there. Let's say we didn't get one of Carlton Davis or Amik Robertson, then I would probably opt for corner right here. Yeah.
So and I forgot about edge too. So now it's edge, interior O-line, or tackle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lisa Isaac, that's an interesting guy over there for the edge position. Physical in the run game. The Senior Bowl, he showed he could get after the pass here as well. I think he's a talented player. I think the best football's ahead of him. I think he could grow and his potential and reach his ceiling. So I like him over there for this pick 73 if we stay pat. And then the cornerback position, the guy who was fearfully confident. He put in Renaldo Green, and that's kind of the guy I was looking at for that next pick after this one, because I think Aaron Glenn would like a guy like that, sticky man-to-man corner, physical at the catch point. So I think he fits that defense, because you did bring in Carlton Davis and Robertson, but Carlton Davis, I like Carlton Davis. Robertson, he's been a little inconsistent. So a cornerback position is still a big need for this Lions football team.
And Davis has been hurt too. I think the past two years, if not 3. So
he has been.
That's a concern as well. So I'm good with Adiza Isaac. And again, anybody you draft here, you don't have to. They're not going to come in and start right away and have to be a big key piece to the defense. You can put them in the best position to succeed, or defense team. Period. You just put them in the best position to succeed, barring injury that forces them to play a lot more. So you take your time, develop the guy, and get him right. I'm good with Adiza Isaac, though.
Yeah. The only other thing I was thinking, you went to the tackle position here. That's the other thing I was thinking about right here. Do we want to pick a guy to develop him for Taylor Decker leaving? It's like you're thinking ahead, you're 2 steps ahead. Right. The guy will be Kieran. He's a big guy. He played in the FCS football.
FCS, yeah, I think it's
FCS. So it's like the level of competition. He didn't really face much, but he dominated it, man. He's big, he can move, and he's powerful in the run game. So he's a guy you could definitely develop, man. Fits that Lions mold.
All right, we'll do this as a democracy. My vote is for the tackle. I think the Lions have done such a great job of having depth at that position. You need that over the course of the season. I mentioned the contract situation at tackle. Of course, Sewell will get done. There's a lot of upside with this young man from Yale, but I do think he needs some seasoning, and this would give him an opportunity not to be thrust into immediate playing time. And then, of course, he's being added to a very good offensive line on top of that. So I think in terms of, and we touched on it, but we didn't go into great detail. Interior offensive lineman, I think there's a little bit more depth throughout this draft where we can get a guy who, again, wouldn't necessarily have to play immediately, but could assume a starting position in 2025. So I like Kieran here. Heather, you seem to be leaning this to Isaac. Drew, what do you say?
No, I'm good with the tackle, bro. We can do the CPGM thing. the boring but responsible thing, and get them boys ready for the life after Taylor Decker. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jake, if you're still in here, I think Jake did a video on Kieran.
He did.
So
he did.
He did. Okay, I thought I saw it. So
Jake, plug the channel. Plug the channel in the comments. Plug it. All right. Isaac ended up going to the Broncos a few selections later. Let's see what the edges look like. Okay.
Green's gone, bro.
Yeah, they took him early.
Yeah.
They took him pretty early.
Damn, that one hurt a little bit.
Yeah, Elijah Jones off the board too. Hold on. He's still on the board.
No, Elijah Jones is still there.
Okay.
Brandon Rice, Mahogany.
Actually, Josh Newton out there too.
Coleman out of there.
Okay, so let's see what the damage is. All right. So obviously a number of the edges came off here. Although we're fans of Mo Kamara, Dallas Hunt is really intriguing to me. You know about Miles Cole's size. Is Brendan Jackson, Nelson Caesar is there as well. Still a lot of options at the corner position. I get that, you know, Renardo Green has kind of established himself as one of the better man-to-man corners in this class. But again, I think there's a plethora of defensive backs that can do so many different things in this class. So I'm not heartbroken about it. The edge situation does concern me a little bit. Now, of course, you brought in Davenport, and we did add Michael Hall. So it's not as if we don't have teeth up front, but we didn't necessarily get one of those guys there in that third or fourth round. They all came off the board. Gabriel Murphy is what I was kind of hoping might slide to us there. It didn't work out that way. And then, of course, in the interior of the offensive line, you got a number of players here that we like as well, including those Michigan guys a little bit later. So what's your thought process here?
Yeah, I'm looking at Mo Kamara, the edge out of Colorado State. You know, I love how he plays, the intensity that he plays with, gets after the quarterback. So that's definitely a guy I'm looking at there. And if you talk about the cornerback position, there's three guys I like right there for Detroit. You know, Josh Newton, Elijah Jones, and Charles Smith-Wade from Washington State. I like those three corners there. So, you know, I think Mo Kamara I'm leaning Mo Kamara because I think after him it's a little bit of drop off. While, you know, the cornerback position, like we've said, you know, all draft season, it's pretty deep, man. So we might be able to get a guy at was that 144 or 164. Yeah, one of those guys might fall to us at 164.
It's a bit of a wait. We could move up though. We could move up, right? We have 201, 205, 249, 250. Obviously some draft capital from next year. So before we make the Mo Kamara selection, let's see if we can put ourselves around the 145 spot here. Let's see. Would that be? Nope. There we go. Yeah, just to put ourselves in a little bit more advantageous position here in order to get one of those three corners as you're looking at. There are some good names there for sure. All right, so we'll go with Mo Kamara. Make sure that we get our edge player here. Good football player. He's one of the better prospects at the edge position you'll potentially find here in day 3. And then at corner, everybody's still in play.
Yeah, I think all three of them are. You know, I'm a Josh Newton guy. You know, Smith-Wade has grown on me ever since the Senior Bowl, and I know you love Elijah Jones from Boston College. So, you know, I don't know, man.
Stand on the table. You got to stand on the table for somebody, man. We moved up to make sure that we have an opportunity, and of course now we got all three at our disposal.
They're all still there.
So what are we're talking about corner? Trying to figure out the corner position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro.
All Altoids.
I can't find my Altoids, man. I was looking for them. They've disappeared, man.
All right, man. I'm just taking a step back here, looking at it all. We were kind of, you know, zeroed in at the corner position. I'm not suggesting we come off of that, but just taking a look at what's on the board.
Make sure don't miss anything.
Yeah, Thrash, Eichenberg. Taylor Demerson's still out there.
Oh, they're locked in there.
Yeah, it's corner. It's corner, but Senate is interesting, man. Like I get it that we have Laporta, but you know, that's not a bad 12 personnel look there. You know what I mean? He's intriguing.
Yeah, I mean,
corner you like, Drew? Come on.
This is when we talk about best player available. That they've kind of assembled themselves where they could possibly take Sanat there, right?
They could.
So Lions fan, I think it's one of the teams where you just kind of sit back and they might be going best player available, best player available, best player available. 3-4 picks in a row. You never know. But if we're talking corner, I know Mr. C. Prasky is pushing Kalen King, but he was a disappointment. Had one more opportunity to kind of make it up in his pro day. Did he still run that 4.6? If I'm not mistaken, that pro day. Did I miss it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he timed at his pro day. I think.
Okay, maybe I made it.
He ran particularly fast though. I don't think so.
All right, so
we just summarily dismissing Kalen Carson. We just summarily dismissing him.
No. I'm looking at him. I'm thinking in my head of the cases for the other guys below him.
Sure. Headley ain't looking at him. I know that much. Headley is off of that.
I'm looking at Josh. I'm looking at Josh Newton, to be honest, man. I think he'll fit the scheme really well. Put him in some press coverage. I like how he turns his hips, how he finds the ball down the field.
Right.
And somebody said it in the chat, man. He plays bigger than his size. He plays bigger than his size, man. And you just don't want him off coverage deep down the field. That's kind of where he struggles. But if he's up close and personal with wide receivers, 10, 15 yards out, man, he's going to be sticky, man. Sticky man cover guy. So
okay, so I'm with you. I'm with you all the way with Josh Newton. So I got one question. Why don't you like Kalen Carson?
It's the inconsistency in his game, man. Like it's peaks and valleys.
Where's the higher ceiling? Where's the higher ceiling in your opinion?
I like Josh Newton.
Josh Newton the higher ceiling?
He's gonna come up and tackle. He's gonna come up and tackle and be consistent. He a dog. I like dogs. I like dogs.
That's what Headley questions about Carson is the dog, right? That there were business decisions being made, and that's what you question about him. But what do you like about Kalen Carson?
Look at me,
Headley. Force him to say something good about Carson.
I gotta go back to my notes. I gotta go back.
What do you like about him? What do you like about him, Drew? What do you like about Carson?
I like his ability to compete down the field. I think he's I don't think he's necessarily a guy that I would line up, an inch from the receiver. I think he needs a little bit of space to do his thing and work. I like his ability to attack the football. He should get his hands on the ball a little bit more, but and I think he uses the sideline well.
I think he has good ball skills. I really do think he has good ball skills. I think the issue with Carson that I have, it's not for ability. It's not for ability at all. It's the lapses in concentration.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it be the moment of truth or during the receiver's stem, in terms of their route, whatever. There just seems to be these breakdowns in concentration with Carson. And, of course, he struggled with injury as well.
Let's go Newton.
I think he's talented, bro.
Yeah, he got talent. I have here. He got good ball skills. I like his click and close ability. I think with more space, he's less effective. I think you kind of have to force him to be a dog. Like sometimes like get in the receiver's face, get physical with him, and use your basketball back in track ability. Man, he's a former track player, former basketball player. So you got the speed. You got the ball skills. Just be more consistent as that dog, man. That's kind of what I'm missing from Kalen Carson right now in my evaluation.
All right, so with that said, that's not a Campbell guy. Then we got to force you to be something you not being.
So when you say force, Headley, are you suggesting that if Wake Forest, if their defensive alignment, demanded more press, from their defensive backs, do you think Carson would rise to the occasion? Is that what you're kind of saying, or are you just saying that he don't have it in him?
No, I see it in him. That's the thing about him, man. You see it in him. So if they force him to play more press, I think that it would made him look a lot better out there for Wake Forest. But it's just the inconsistency, man. Like that's my biggest issue with him right now. So he has a lot of talent. Like I said, it's peaks and valleys. But I know what Josh Newton's going to bring me, play in and play out, man. And that's why I side with Newton over Carson.
Okay, all right. Sounds like Josh Newton's the pick, Drew.
I'm good with it, man. I mean, fearfully confident. He put his stamp on it. So he didn't put a stamp on it, but he said, "Hey, man, this is a Dan Campbell guy." So I don't know, fight for your guy, man. He stood on the table. Y'all boys stood on the table. I was just kind of chilling like this, leaning back.
No, sir.
Not fighting for my guy.
We're not doing it, Mr. C. Brassy. We refuse.
You drop a kicker.
I think they do need a kicker, by the way. I'm not doing it.
We can't do that.
What's the fun in that, bro?
None. That's the best kicker in the draft. Hey, D-Kid, man, I saw you on Twitter, man. You said, what'd you say, man? Let me grab it.
All right.
Like Tannenbaum, the kiss of death, bro.
At 2:05.
Lock in JJ McCarthy to the Giants, bro. It's there. It's done, bro.
They got to trade up to get him, though. That's what they're saying.
They will. That's the part that's really going to hurt. That's the part that's really going to hurt.
There's your guy, AJ Barner, right there, Headley. Who wanted to add a tight end.
He's a blocker, too.
Trevor Keegan. Kingsley, Drake
interior.
Nugent, Darius Henderson, Charles Turner, all there in the interior of the offensive line. We wanted to add a player there. Mind you, we have 249 and 250 as well.
Okay. That's the last picks, 250 is the last one?
We have we're on 205, and then we have 249 and 250. You still got Mustafa out here, Evan Williams, Kenny Logan, Dominique Hampton. So if you're thinking best player available, I think Mustafa is actually one of the best players available at this juncture.
Mustafa.
Miles Cole, if you want to give those traits a look.
Is that a traits team? I'd pull the trigger.
What you thinking,
Miles
Heather?
Cole, wingspan.
Yeah, more depth at the second the safety position. Cause after Melifonwu and Kirby Joseph, the only other guy on the roster is Brandon Joseph. Because Brian Branch, I look at him as a nickel player. So they need more depth there. Mustafa, he's an interesting guy. We talked about Wake Forest with Kalen Carson. Now there goes your dog right there, Mustafa for Wake Forest.
Right.
Yeah, he flies from the rafters, man. Comes up and hits. So
yeah. Okay, let's go Malik Mustafa here, and then at the end of the draft here, we'll look to add another player to perhaps the pass rush in the interior of the offensive line. So through 6 selections, we have Adonai Mitchell, Michael Hall Jr., Kieran. I'm gonna get that last name pronounced before the end of this draft cycle. Muhammad Kamara, Josh Newton, and Malik Mustafa. All right, and of course, trying to make certain selections in the image of Dan Campbell's personality, and we're biting kneecaps and so on and so forth. We want to be physical. We want to be smart, intelligent football team here. So let's take a look.
That's your boy Kingsley from the Gators right there.
There's Kingsley. There's
Bookie Watson also, second level linebacker.
Add Bookie Watson to the mix. Braden McGregor, Grayson Murphy. Remember when Trajan Jeffcoat was that guy, bro? What happened? What happened to that boy? I don't know what happened to him.
Fell off.
The boys lost them 2 guys behind them, no?
Yeah. The backers.
But say we don't have to be as concerned this year, right? We do put a little bit more focus on this guy, I guess.
We could add perhaps like a Julian Pearl. I was just going to mention West over here, Mr. C. Prasky. We could pick up a Jack West over here. I like what he does in the passing game.
I do too. What's their
there is a Bookie Watson, and you want to
You can't go wrong with Bookie because Bookie will help special teams out too.
Worst case scenario, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a Kingsley and a Bookie here to round things out doesn't sound bad at all.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
All right. If there are no objections from the congregation, Kingsley and Bookie are our final selections. All right, Drew. It's your show here to break this thing down.
All right, man. Well, we talked about the lines at the beginning before we started drafting, and we talked about them in terms of their free agency. They basically filled all their holes. So they were kind of a team that we could either trade up for a guy that was maybe falling really hard, or we could let things just kind of come to us, right? And we decided we just going to chill. We're adding Mitchell. I think. Well, let me not mention it. I want to mess up the clip for you, bro. But yeah. So we went receiver. I think we were thinking it was receiver, or what was the other position? I forgot already.
Cooper DeJean.
That's what it was. It was Cooper DeJean. Yeah, it was between those two players. And since we felt like the safety position is kind of solid, I was thinking him to play corner, but Headley said, "Hey man, listen, they play a lot of man coverage. Don't necessarily want to put Cooper DeJean out there. You're not playing him in his best optimal position in that scenario or scheme, I would say." So opted for Adonai Mitchell. I wanted a guy before Adonai. I went the pick before to the Buffalo Bills and Darius Robinson, but it is what it is. Then we went and got Michael Hall, who we love in the middle of that defense. 3 technique, causes a lot of havoc. He has great hands, and he's just a disruptor. I think he's the type of guy that could actually penetrate and get some sacks from the inside, but he's definitely going to free things up for I'm drawing a blank on their Aiden Hutchinson. Damn, drawing a blank. And then we went and got Kieran. Well, I think we traded down. We traded down before we got Michael Hall. I think 1 pick with the Baltimore Ravens, just so that we could scoop. Well, we got a extra 4th round pick. We got Kieran there. The argument or the discussion for Kieran was what? It was tackle,
or
interior offensive line, corner,
and edge.
It was those 3 positions. Had some good guys on the board, but we ultimately thought this is the Taylor Decker replacement here. He doesn't necessarily have to play, obviously coming from a smaller school. And so, got to play, just sit, chill, learn. And then next year we throw him out there, do his thing. And then we have Muhammad Kamara, the Colorado State. I think did he have the most sacks this year? He had a lot of production this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Solomon led the country in sacks.
Solomon, that's right.
Kamara was up there. Kamara was up there.
He was up there. Yeah, I think he led for a little bit, and then I think boys Solomon took it over. We went Kamara there for the edge, so he can play opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Kamara's got some moves, man. He's got some moves. He has a plan when he's coming to the line of scrimmage. He hit you with that first move, and kind of hit you with that next move. He's kind of hitting you with moves in succession, right? A lot of guys do the one hitter quitter. He's not that guy, bro. He's gonna bring 1, 2, 3, 4 right before the play is over with. And then we went Josh Newton here. The discussion was Josh Newton or Kalen Carson. Ultimately, everybody stood on the table for Josh Newton, so we went there. Fits the scheme very well. Malik Mustafa. Haley said he got that dog. That man got that dog. I think he could play the free. I think he played it strong. I think he could do a lot of different things. I think he's got some issues in terms of getting caught flat-footed playing the nickel position, but he don't got to do none of that. Ain't got to do none of that. That's what Brian Branch is there for. Kingsley's for the Gators, can play that interior, either guard or center. I think we're looking at for a center just in case. And then we went Bookie and Nathaniel Watson, man, tackling machine. Worst case scenario, plays your special teams.
Yeah, with Kingsley, you're locked in. You're locked in at the center position. You have your guy there. I think it's a question about Zeitler. It's a 1-year deal. Zeitler obviously getting a little bit longer in the tooth. Kingsley has that flexibility. He could play center, he could play guard, right? But we're going to give ourselves an opportunity here to see what he has, to let him develop behind that starting group. And you mentioned Kieran not necessarily having to play. I'm gonna put him out there when I'm gonna go six offensive linemen.
Okay, yeah. That's how you kind of work him in. Yeah, I got it. I like it. Goal line, short situations.
But of course, absolutely.
Unbalanced lines.
We want to take a shot play to Jamison Williams. We go, 6 offensive linemen at the 50 and then chuck 1 deep. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So I think that gives him an opportunity to get his feet wet, continue to work on the finer points of the position. Obviously, it's a significant step going from Ivy League opponents to the NFL, right? So there is going to be a learning curve there. But again, we're going to bet on the traits and what Detroit has done in terms of offensive line development to this point. So I like it. As far as day 3 is concerning. I always ask this question here, Headley. Who was your favorite selection in day 3?
Josh Newton, man. He a day 3 guy, right? We had a lengthy discussion about it. Kalen Carson or Josh Newton. I know what I'm gonna get play in and play out from Josh Newton. He doesn't have those business decisions. I call Kalen Carson Mr. Business Decisions, and Josh Newton plays with a chip on his shoulder, man. He got inside, outside versatility. Coming into last season, he was kind of an unknown. Everyone was talking about Noah Daniels out there, and then you had Hodges Thomason as well, and Josh Newton stole the show. He kind of struggled a little bit in 2023, especially against Texas. Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, they got the best of him, but you just got to get him closer to the receiver, make him play from press man. He can turn his hips, he can locate, and like I said, he's a feisty guy, man. So he's gonna fit this Dan Campbell's defense. They brought in Carlton Davis. I think him and Carlton Davis, they got a similar game in them, man. So I like to see them on the field together on the opposite sides, man, and show that secondary for the Detroit Lions.
And the good news, obviously, is that Josh Newton don't have to face Adonai Mitchell except for practice, right?
There you go.
Because, of course, he was our first selection. So I like what we did here with the Lions. I like what we did here. We weren't necessarily synced up on all the picks, but we worked through it. We discussed it. Obviously, that's how it works out in the war room. When you have the scouts and so on and so forth, front office personnel, you're going to have, to make concessions and compromise and stand on the table for your guys. So like what we did here with the Lions, they're in great shape. This organization is in great shape. They should be able to position themselves, assuming they stay healthy, to make another run at it. All right. So let's transition. Let's transition to the Baltimore Ravens, who, I think widely were considered the best team in the league last year. Of course, they picked a very inopportune time to abandon their philosophy offensively. And it cost them. It cost them, right? It cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. But they unlike unlike the Lions, they have a little bit more work to do. I don't think it's dire by any stretch of the imagination, but when you have successful seasons, typically you have a certain number of turnover. They certainly had that in terms of their coaching staff. And they've lost some productive players. Clowney had his best season as professional. Patrick Queen, who's been a mainstay for a while, moves on. Geno Stone had a career year. So on the defensive side of the ball, at each level, they have a starter who made a difference move on. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you're still looking for that X receiver, as I mentioned during the Lions mock draft. And we're expecting at least 2 new starters up front. Now, they may have some in-house replacements prepared to kind of elevate and move into a starting role, but there's a number of question marks on this team. So as I'm getting this situated here, what do you think, Heather? What do you think about this Ravens team? What do they need to do in order to get over the hump?
First and foremost, I think you need a premier pass rusher. You got Oweh, you got Ojabo. You drafted them pretty early in the draft, but you don't have that guy. Like you said, you lost Clowney. I know Matabuki led them in sacks in the interior, but at the edge, they need a guy to get after the quarterback on the edge. Also a corner. They could add a corner also. I love their safeties with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. They don't have no depth behind those guys. So later in the draft, maybe added a safety, but cornerback, edge rusher, and wide receiver, like you said earlier. And then I think the offensive line, when the Ravens were at their best, the offensive line, they had a great unit. They lost some guys. I think Zeitler, right? Zeitler that we just talked about for the Lions. They lost him on the interior. So, right now you got Voorhees and Ben Cleveland as your guards, and Makaria as your right tackle. So, I just think the offensive line you got to shore that up, man. So I think it should be a trenches draft for the Ravens, outside wide receiver and corner. The offensive line and the pass rusher on the edge. I think that's needed for the Ravens.
So I wonder, and I think I posed this question on the X. Do you think Falele, you think he's ready to assume a position, start maybe at right tackle, or is it Makari's job to lose? Do we bring in competition for both of them? I think Voorhees is going to start. Obviously he had an injury. I believe it was either really late in the season or during the pre-draft process, and really he kind of redshirted his rookie season in the NFL. But I believe he's a plug-and-play guy, assuming he's healthy. So that's one
USC, right?
spot.
Yeah,
Yes,
USC.
That's one spot I don't think is a big concern. Of course, they lost John Simpson as well, right? So that's what I mentioned. They're going to have to replace a number of starters here. Morgan Moses was traded to the Jets, so some changes here. To your point, Heather, but I agree with you. I think the biggest need here is somebody who can consistently affect the passer off the edge. You know what I mean? If not for Madubuike and Clowney, figuring something out at this point in his career, you know what I'm saying? You don't have the consistent pass rush outside of bringing extra rushers via the blitz.
Bro, what you mean? What you mean, bro? Odafe Owe? What you mean?
I was gonna get there.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure you didn't leave him off. That's supposed to be the guy. Yeah, he was the savior, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the savior, and he's become a solid player.
Okay.
He ain't the savior. That's for damn sure. But he's become. It's taken time. It's obviously been a slow process, but he's become a solid player. It's not enough. It's not enough, right? When you need 3rd and long and you need to get off the field, it can't just be Madubuike. It can't be. It's got to be somebody else. Somebody else that the offensive have to account for, that they have to keep a running back in to help with something else. So I'm with you there, Headley, for sure. All right. So with that being said, we're at 30. You know what I mean? We've talked about in the previous mock draft who our top 3 pass rushers are. And hell, there may be 5 or so that come off the board before we get on the clock here. So are you moving up? Are you aggressive about moving up here? Or do you stay put?
Yeah,
let the draft come to you.
I think I'm more willing to trade back, honestly, from the Ravens than moving up. We just spoke about it. It's a lot of needs. You think this team that just, went through the AFC, lost in the playoff, but, they were a pretty dominant team all season long. You think this team is stacked, but it's a lot of needs on this team, man. Offensive line, pass rusher, another wide receiver. So I don't think a trade up should be done here because of the needs that needs to be filled for the Ravens along the draft.
Okay, understood. Right? You think just the sheer volume of needs is reason enough to stay put. I understand that. I also feel like, listen, you're right there, bro.
Depends on who's falling.
It kind of depends on who's falling, but you're right there. And that, to me, defensively is what you have been missing. Like you have been missing that edge player since Sizzle, effectively, right? Yeah. To be that game changer on the edge. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thought process there. I want to get to one above all's question here before we get started. I don't think he gets out of day 2. I think at the latest it's round 3, and I wouldn't be shocked if he goes round 2. And I believe the Eagles have a pair of 2nd round selections. So I think in order to ensure that they get their hands on the young man from Yale and allow him to develop behind Mailata and the right tackle's name's escaping. They probably would have to invest a 2nd round pick in order to get him, but definitely not going to get past day 3.
Come on, Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson, thank you. Disrespecting Lane. I think Chop's just ability to bend the edge is a fit. He doesn't necessarily profile of their typical archetype. He's closer to Ajabo in that sense, but I think that the name of the game is getting after the passer, right? So if he's available, that's certainly somebody you have to consider. All right. So let's get the Ravens. Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
You go ahead. You can run it. I'm just going to talk here. So you said
Marshawn Nealon is intriguing for sure.
That I think that may be the guy, but you said that you think this team is essentially a player away, right? As you said, something. I'm paraphrasing, right? So that's kind of your
defensive side of the ball. That's kind of how I feel. I'm not saying they don't have other needs, but I think I think they need that one player to put them over the top in the form of a pass rusher.
You would trade up. You would trade because the thing is, when I look at this team, them boys need 2 safeties for sure, right?
2 safeties.
I mean, it's only 2 safeties on the roster.
Yeah, they need. That's late in the draft, though. Yeah,
I'm saying they need depth. So if we're trading up,
they do need depth.
You know what I'm saying? We forego some things, right? And then we talked about the interior of the offensive line. So I get it. Last year, I think that's something that they do this year. I think you might just have to chill.
So to kind of further that point, and of course, Darius Robinson goes to Detroit.
Of course he goes, bro. Like,
Right
come on,
every
bro.
time, bro.
Come on.
Every time.
Brian Thomas is staring us in the face, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be our pick anyway. That's your X right there. But from the perspective of mortgaging, not the farm necessarily, but mortgaging some of your draft capital in order to secure a guy we think can immediately help your pass rush. Not a guy that we think will develop, but a guy who can help you immediately, right? Those guys don't grow on trees typically. You understand what I'm saying? They don't. There's good football players throughout this draft, don't get me wrong, but those guys who are going to come in day one, and NFL teams are going to learn within the first month or so that, we have to game plan for this guy. Those guys, they don't come in abundance. And I just think this team is close enough to say, you know what? We're going to trust our scouting department to do what we always do, that being the Ravens, get guys on day 3, you know what I'm saying, that round out our roster. That's their MO. Now, of course, their MO is truly to trade now. That is truly what their MO is. But I think when you're right there on the cusp, man, I'm willing to move the chips to the middle of the table. All right. So we've discussed that. We've beaten that particular horse into submission. So Brian Thomas.
Let's check Edge real quick. Just check Edge. Yeah. I just want to see what's there.
Let's check it. You got Brennan Trice, Braswell, Nealon.
I think what we do here is we go Thomas and then we come back and get you some Nealon, bro. Pause. You feeling it?
I'm not against it. It's a matter of whether or not he lasts that long, which again, man, goes back to what I mentioned. You might have to get aggressive. Okay. Might have to get aggressive.
Right. Yeah, I'm with the Brian Thomas pick. Say we're looking for that X receiver. A lot of juice, man. This guy's a game breaker on the outside. You got a game breaker in Zay Flowers, who's drafted last season. Add another game breaker with Lamar Jackson, and you know that's scary. That's scary time right there, man. Because you got no two tight ends likely, and Mark Andrews right there on the inside. So yeah, you add Brian Thomas. I love his ability to track the football, goal line, man, red zone threat. But I think he's sneaky after the catch, man. Not a lot of people give him credit for what he does after the catch.
He's
very slippery, man.
That's because Neighbors was doing all of it.
Yeah. Neighbors was taking that spotlight from him.
And a lot of Thomas's catches was once it was in his hands, it was a touchdown, right? So,
right.
But I'm gonna be a little negative, right? Because we stay talking positive about these receivers. I'm talking a little negative, right? I like Thomas.
Give us the full story.
No, you don't need the full story. We say that for another time. We can say that for draft day. He's still my receiver 5, receiver 6. So this isn't me, poo-pooing on him. But when I was watching the tape, right, we and I talked about this before in terms of the routes that he did run. They were very limited. Not his fault. And I believe he can run any route. That's just was the nature of the scheme and whatnot. It was the curl route and it was the go route from the slot position. One thing I challenged that I watched and I was like, and it didn't happen too often because he was just running by people. The perceived, how do I want to say this? I want to say it right. The perceived,
I don't know if the audience has noticed, but Drew is lucid tonight. He's lucid tonight. I don't know if he. Ain't nothing in there. He's lucid tonight.
I promise, man. It's the perceived thought of someone in his space, and he may not catch the football. And when I say that, I mean guys have their hands around his face, around his hands as the ball's coming in. It's a possible drop. Like the percentage of him dropping this football is going to go up versus going down. Nah, I lost it. Yeah, I lost the Altoids, man. I can't find them. I gotta find them. But yeah. So I want to put that out there. So if this is something that comes along when he does get drafted, you heard it here first. It's something he can fix real easily, right? We're not talking about Quentin Johnston. We ain't talking about nothing like that. I'm just telling you.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. All right. No, I'm with it. That's an interesting nugget there, right? And as an X, we're expecting you to make those contested grabs.
Yeah, you got to make those. Period.
You know what I'm saying? We're expecting that, you know. But the thing and Heather, I'm curious on what you think here, because Brian Thomas is the pick, and we're going to move on in just a second. I'm curious, what do you think about his release package?
I think it could improve. I think definitely
Okay.
could improve. I think there's like Drew said, there's parts of his game that could improve. He's more a potential pick, like a high ceiling pick, because what he does with the ball in his hands, how he attacks the football, how he high points the football, the speed, the size. He has all of that in spades, but some of the technical things, like you said, the release package, catching through contact, those things need to improve for Brian Thomas Jr. So yeah, he's not a perfect prospect, man, but he's very talented, and you know the ceiling is immense with Brian Thomas Jr.
A lot of his warts are things that aren't necessarily his fault. It's just that wasn't a lot of it, right? Well, you're not challenging him at the line of scrimmage, right? You're not necessarily challenging him at the catch point because people are scared of the speed and the big playability, right? And he was asked to run a handful of routes. Like, it's a bunch of stuff that's not his fault. I'm just doing what I'm doing what I'm being told to do, right? And so sometimes you kind of take dings. It was similar to Justin Fields when they're talking about, you know, he's throwing to wide open guys. Okay, what do you want me to do? Not throw it to the wide open guy? Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You know, so that's you just got to see things kind of play out. And then once you see it, you know, you see it a couple times. Okay, all right, we know that's him. He is who he is. And I think we all are leaning on him being that guy, right? If we're talking about him being that X. So it's not a big concern, but, you know, you always try to find a little chink in the armor, man. You don't want to give this glowing A++ report and then things start to come up later on down the line, right? So they're
right.
out toys.
Yeah, you know, like
there's an opportunity to dress Ricky, by the way. There is an opportunity.
Ricky Pearsall. You got Ricky over Brian Thomas? I think you were debating that the other day. Ricky Pearsall.
Drew?
Is Ricky over Brian Thomas Jr.?
Nah, man, come on. Don't do that.
Can't do it. No, but we said after the big three, you know, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, there's a drop off.
A little bit more fluid.
There's a drop off. You know, there's a lot of great receivers. I think everyone's bunched up after that, including Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. is not much better than you can put him on the same par with Adonai Mitchell. You know, Keon Coleman, a receiver I like, Ladd McConkey, Roman Wilson. They're all bunched up after the big three. So, you know, like Drew said, Brian Thomas Jr. is not one of those alpha guys, but he's more in the second tier of wide receivers in this draft class.
A lot of bunched up guys, man. A lot of bunched up guys. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. It just depends on what you need, what you're looking for, and kind of how you see those guys. So,
what flavor you want.
Yep.
Yeah, Jordan Reed, I think he mentioned on the X that he has 12 receivers with the second round grade, bro.
Yeah. It's not about right.
So,
it's not about right.
Yeah. So it definitely speaks to the depth at the position in this class. Marshawn Kneeland is the top edge. We're here at the 48th overall pick. We don't pick for another 14 selections. So if Kneeland is the guy you covet here, I imagine we would need to get aggressive. Now, you guys talked about, you know, the fact that this team has several other needs, and I'm looking around, I'm looking at the board, and you got the likes of Cooper Beebe,
Christian Haynes
out
plug him in.
You got Mikey at corner. You know, you could certainly add him to the mix there.
Mikey too.
I know they have Trenton Simpson, and I think Trenton Simpson will be just fine. But of course, you have the full complement of linebackers available to you here. So,
bro,
there's a decision to be made.
Bro, it's too much, bro. You put too much on the plate, bro. I got steak, I got chicken, I got lobster, I got shrimp.
It's too much.
Damn, bro.
We gotta let it play out, man. I don't think we.
It's a damn buffet, bro. It's a buffet.
There's so many guys we like. I don't think we trade up. Like you said, you know, Christian Haynes is on the board still. You know, Kneeland's on the board. Mikey's on the board. I think those three. We gotta come away with maybe one of those three guys though.
Yeah.
So you got Haynes, Kneeland, and Mikey. That's what you're thinking? Those three? All right, let's see how it plays out here.
The two of them get picked, man. Pause that draft up.
Mikey.
There goes Mikey.
A little trigger happy. Rook, Penix, Pope.
Oh, that's the one.
That's the one I wanted.
Twice.
Yeah, Detroit got him twice. Detroit got him twice, bro.
Damn.
Detroit got him twice. All right, Marshawn Kneeland's there. Marshawn Kneeland is the pick.
these are two high upside guys with Brian
Oh yeah,
Thomas
for
Jr.
sure.
and Nealon,
For sure.
Marshawn Nealon. The best football's ahead of them because they have potential. They have things to work on. Nealon, his secondary, his tertiary moves, but there's a physical presence that he plays with. The motor that he plays with, man, is a lot to like about him, man. So he's going to compete with Oweh and Ojabo as the edge rushers for the Ravens.
They're looking for a suggestion here on which game she should watch for Cedric Gray. I guess to get a better sense of what he does in the
first game of the
pass
season.
It's not
they
his.
Played,
it's not
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
That was a South Carolina game.
But he's talking about he was attacking in that game. He was attacking. He's coming after the quarterback.
It's the overall package. It's the overall package in that game. What I was going to say about Gray is that is not his forte. Coverage is not his forte, but I think he's a solid player in terms of dropping into the curl flat, into a hook zone, understanding, keeping his eyes on the quarterback and getting in the passing lanes. I think he does a good job of that. Now, if you're expecting him to match up with tight ends and running backs and be one of the better linebackers at that, that's not really his game. That's not truly his game. So just keep that in mind. Should have moved down, D-Kid? Maybe. But as the panel indicated, one of those three guys and only one of those three guys remained. So we stood pat there with Marshawn Nealon. I like the flexibility that he offers up front. All right, so we have a couple of trade offers here. We could drop back about 5, 6 spots here, add a pair of 5th round picks while we're at it. Gives ourselves some more cracks at it. We could stay put, obviously. Of course, Derrick Henry is now in Baltimore. I'm so looking forward to that pairing in the backfield with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So running back obviously isn't a huge need. That'd be something we want to add a little bit later. Keaton Mitchell is the type of guy that you want to get maybe 5 to 8 touches a game, get that explosion out in space, that speed out in space. But without Gus, your boy from Ohio State, obviously he couldn't stay healthy. They might want to add a 3rd running back there a little bit later. Edge, Jonah Ellis, Gabriel Murphy, Javon Solomon. He seems like a Raven. Solomon seems like a Raven, bro. I must say that. Let's see here in the down line, Dwayne Carter. You got Boygby from Alabama, Tyler Davis. Offensive line, right tackle. What's your thought process there? And Dominic Pooney's out there. If you want to guard, of course, we could pivot to a Zach Center to play opposite Voorhees. Because again, I think Voorhees is locked in as one of your guards. It's a question of whether or not you're just comfortable with Ben Cleveland or you want to upgrade the position. Right tackle, and even listen, Ronnie Stanley is not the player that he was before he's dealt with those injuries. That's another thing that people need to consider, right? Maybe another year removed from it, he gets back closer to what he was prior to his series of injuries, but he hasn't been the same player either. So, what do you guys think? What say you at this point?
I'm looking at Pooney. Pooney gives you the versatility inside, outside, to play guard. Actually, he can play probably all 5 positions on the offensive line, center, guard, and tackle. And I'm also looking at Abrams Drain from Missouri. The cornerback is a need for this football team. He plays the ball really well. If he's not getting his hand on for a pass breakup, he's catching an interception. He has versatility to play inside, outside. Zone man, I think he could do it all. I think size, he's a little on the smaller end, so play strength might be an issue for him. But the way that he plays the ball and attacks the ball is really impressive, man. So those are the 2 guys I'm looking at. You got Gabriel Murphy there. You could double up at the edge rusher. But Pooney and Abrams Drain are the 2 guys I'm looking at here.
All right, Drew.
Hey, I'm going with the Pooney. I like when you talk about players and you say versatility. They got a guy in Nealon here, and now they're going to turn around and get a guy.
That speaks to Drew. The versatility speaks to Drew for sure.
It makes it easy. Makes this decision. Listen, if I'm a GM and you a scout and you fighting for your guy, you stand on the table. When you say versatility, bro, I sit up in my chair and I perk up, man, because you got my attention, man. So I'm good with.
All right, we're going to do the typical couch potato general manager move here and prioritize the offensive line. I do like Abrams Drain quite a bit too. I think this would be a good landing spot for him. But Dominic Cooney is the selection. And we wait 113 here. So 20 selections. See what we have. Braden Allen, Blake Fisher still available.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are
a couple of safeties if you wanted to add that third safety, right? Jaden Hicks, Cole Bishop, corner, Cam Hart, Kyrie Jackson. Obviously, they offer a ton of size. You know, if you want to prioritize that man coverage, Bernardo's out there for you.
Man coverage, bro. Get Ronaldo right now.
Right now.
So before I make this selection, what is the plan at right tackle? Is Makari the guy? Is he just the incumbent and we move on? He only has 1 year on his deal, by the way.
Well, I don't think he's the guy we're talking about.
There's a competition for Falele, Makari, Josh Jones.
Okay. Have to compete. Yes. I missed that. I wonder what the plan is because Josh Jones played a little guard here recently. Are they going to play him at tackle or are they going to move him inside? I'm glad you brought that up because it completely escaped my mind. That was a recent transaction there. I think that was a really good addition. That addition gives you a lot of flexibility up front. So I'm okay. I'm actually okay with saying, hey, open competition at right tackle that includes Makari, Falele, and Josh Jones. I'm actually okay with that. I'm not sure what their plan is, though, with Jones. So if any Ravens fans care to clue us in, please. Yeah. So with that being said, we can pivot away from tackle. So that takes us to corner. Drew mentioned Renardo Green. Still got Gabriel Murphy out there.
I think we got to go
any number of different directions we could go in here. Safety as well, but if you want to prioritize the corner, got quite a few on the board here.
So much corners, and you got that pick 130 also.
So
they're gonna start coming off the board. I would imagine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying Ronaldo Green, first of all, I want to give the man his love. I think he's gonna go sooner than most people think. And I think we got to start respecting him, man. Not that I want him over Cam Hart, but this is one of those. Sometimes we just take a guy that's lower on the board from a guy that we've been taking just so we can give that man his love. And so we can say, hey, man, we tried to tell y'all. And this is that moment right here, I think, man. And we talking state, And by the way, I know a lot of y'all are watching on Twitter. Can you, if you want to be a little bit more engaging, you can come over to the YouTube side, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get in that comment section, man. So we can chop it up.
Hit us up, Couch Potato General Manager, the YouTube channel, man.
This is surprising. Appreciate the heads up.
Yeah, Ronaldo Green. We got when I say we, Florida State. You got Fentrell Cypress was a big what do you call it? Transfer. And, he was the guy I was looking at. I was like, okay, we got this guy Cypress. We're gonna get some Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. out there. I got my eye on him. And Ronaldo Green, he stole the show. He stole the show against Malik Neighbors, man. Sticky man-to-man coverage. And then I saw him against Jamari Thrash later in the season. Like I said, those were two of the best route runners to me in this class. And, he did his job, man. He did his job. He plays man really well. The Ravens, they need this corner, a man corner. He can also play zone also, but he's just feisty at the catch point. He's always going to be in the receiver's hip pocket, very instinctive. Could turn his head around and locate the football as well. So, yeah, Ronaldo Green, man. But it's a lot of corners I like. But if you want to show some love, man, you can show love to Ronaldo Green if you want, Drew.
Sanders.
I mean, Jacoby George did him, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, Ronaldo Green has good tape. He has good tape, bro. I mean, when you talk about just pure man-to-man, you'd be hard-pressed to find 4 or 5 corners that have better tape than him in 2023. I'm higher on Cam Hart, obviously. That there's no mistake about that. I've made that clear. But I'm okay with it. I'm ready to go with the majority here. So if we're going Ronaldo Green,
Yeah, he can come up and tackle too.
Yeah.
The Ravens gonna like his tackling ability as well.
Yeah.
You know, I like him a lot more along the sidelines. I think he's really good along the
Yeah, on the
sideline. I think
boundary.
he's
On the boundary.
yeah, he's susceptible to that inside, that quick inside move. He could kind of get beat there a little bit, but along the boundary, man, he's locked down.
All right, Bernardo Green's the pick.
Let's get it.
Let's see here.
Who's there?
Christian Jones out there too.
Jones.
More competition. You're talking about competition at right tackle position.
Yeah, that might be he there. Let's scoop him, bro.
Eichenberg. No.
Okay.
Gabriel Murphy.
Christian
Oh, he's
Jones?
still on the board?
I think so, bro.
Okay.
I think so, man. If you're telling me, and again, I don't quote me on this because I don't know, and then I'm asking the Ravens fans to kind of fill us in here. Has Falele taken that step in terms of his development, right? Are you comfortable with Makari, or is he more of your sixth offensive lineman, swing type of? What are your thoughts there? And then Jones has demonstrated that he can play tackle. He's an NFL starting caliber tackle, right? He's not a world beater, but he's a starting caliber tackle. Although he's played guard more recently, so are they planning on moving him inside? That part I don't know, but I think you have some options there. For my money, assuming you have that three-man competition at right tackle, I would go with Gabriel Murphy. I'm not opposed to Christian Jones, but I would go with Gabriel Murphy under those circumstances.
No, I'm with you. No, that was convincing, man. Plus, Gabriel Murphy is higher on my board.
Ooh, Jake breaking news.
The Titans. That was in the works though. That was kind of
the Colts laid down, bro. The Colts laid down.
Oh yeah, it was the Colts in the work.
I think it was
down.
I think it was the money. I think it was the money. For
it was. It was. And I don't know what the compensation. Like who you got to pay, bro.
Let's say they got a number, and if you exceed the number, we not.
Nah, bro. You not winning though. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not winning, bro. You know, Tennessee not half stepping this offseason. They're not.
I like it.
Okay, yeah, so man. Like I was saying about a third and
25 for a third, and the 2024, man.
Yeah, the Falcons should have jumped on that.
No, you gotta pay him.
2025 third.
It ain't about what you. It's you know what I'm saying.
You got to pay AJ Terrell. You got to pay AJ Terrell.
Yeah, future.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but Isaiah Oliver, he's still over there.
Nah, he been on like 2-3 teams since we
Okay, just checking.
Got rid of him. But yeah, I'm with the Gabriel Murphy. He's a lot higher on my board, on our board, than Christian Jones. It is a position to need. Him and Nealon out there together, man. And you could do a lot of different things with Nealon. You know, you could move him a little inside if you wanted the 5-tech, and have Gabriel Murphy flanking him on the outside. So yeah, I'm with Gabriel Murphy.
Yeah, and I wanted to add another body to the down line. And of course, as you mentioned, Nealon can play 5-tech. He can play he can stand up if you need him to. So we can really leverage his flexibility by adding Gabriel Murphy. So Gabriel Murphy is the pick. All right.
It's a good pairing, bro. It's a good pairing.
Yeah, it is. You could do a lot of different stunts up front in games and tight end. Yeah, man, you could do that, man. Tackle and stunts, TE stunts.
Listen, man, we fixed this team already, bro. They don't even have to draft anymore. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get you a safety here with this next pick coming up, but we've solidified it for these guys, man.
All right, let's take a quick look around. Bo Limmer is your top prospect. Ray Davis, obviously, like his overall skill set. We got quite a few safeties available. Go back to corner. I'm not mad. I wouldn't listen. You can go back to corner, bro. I'm with it.
Jerry Jones. Let's put Florida State with Florida State. You know, you got an inside corner and an outside corner.
Let's do it.
He's probably the best nickel available, so I'm okay with it. It feels odd. It feels weird drafting 2 Seminoles. It's weird, but
why?
I'm with
why
it.
Is that weird?
I'm with it. You know why? It burns.
No, I had to ask you.
Look behind me. It burns. Yeah. But I like the thought process. I do like the thought process here. So, all right, let's double up. Jerry Jones here at 165.
State and state.
Okay, so what's next in your mind? I mean, obviously the board will dictate it to some degree, but What are you thinking? Maybe you add that third safety. There's some
Just
stuff.
go,
Evan
look
Williams.
at receiver real quick. I just want to see what's, me. Always got to see what's there for the receiver. Always got to see.
Or off ball linebacker.
Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking about too.
Bertrand, Bookie, Michael Barrett.
We can still add another offensive lineman too. More competition.
Let's go.
These are your top interior guy: Greenfield, Driscoll, Glover. Your top tackles based on the mock draft database here. We don't need a tight end because we always have tons of those guys. Let's go. What are you thinking, Drew? Xavier Thomas out here too.
Yeah, he definitely won't be there, bro. Where do you think he goes? Fourth round, maybe?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Round. All right,
Christian Boyd out there too.
He won't be there either. Come on, bro.
Big body up front.
He might go third round, bro. Go to safety real quick. Let me just look at this.
Yeah, I was looking at Evan Williams, safety from Oregon.
Yeah, I think I like that one there. He'd be a damn good special teamer for sure. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think he's interchangeable as well. Yeah,
I'm good with that. That's a solid pick. Guy come down in
come
the
up
box.
and tackle.
Yeah. You want him in that short to intermediate area. That's probably where he lives. And we'll
everybody hurt. Every other fan base is hurt on that Snead trade right now.
Come on, I want to Snead.
Oh man,
Cardinals got money.
Drew has his corners, bro. He already has his.
Oh yeah, you got McCullum. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Well, haters, bro.
No, I like McCullum. I like McCullum. I was advocating for him coming out the draft, man. I like McCullum, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Nah, I need money. I think Steve was a 5th round pick. I think he was a 5th round pick.
I think so.
I need money.
Didn't they? They brought back Jones, right?
Chris?
Yeah, Chris Jones. Did he come back?
Yeah,
bro. They broke the bank.
So that pretty much eliminated.
Yeah, they couldn't get both of them. Yeah, they couldn't get both of them.
Yeah. If C was willing to play on the franchise tag, they could afford it. But
you got to get that money.
Got
to cash in.
Oh yeah, it's time to cash in, bro.
I ain't running around and get hurt.
It is time to cash.
Cost me my money, bro.
All right, Evan Williams is the pick here at 218. We have 228 and 250.
All right.
Here's your boy Deloach just got picked. Xavier Thomas still there. I'm just gonna draft him. I'm not gonna
just draft him, bro.
Just gonna draft him. I talked about edge. We didn't necessarily get the upper echelon guy in the class, but by adding Nealon, Gabriel Murphy, and Xavier Thomas, I feel a lot better about our pass rush.
So I think look at running back because we talked about that earlier. Christian Boyd shouldn't be there. Don't know, bro. No, bro.
Man. Listen, man.
Kendall Milton. Put Kendall Milton and Derrick Henry next to each other.
Yeah, I like that.
That's ridiculous.
What's
that? Keaton Mitchell, man. He's hurt, man. Like how?
Yeah, he's got to come up. Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything to this point. I imagine he'll come back and he'll be healthy, but
he's still also.
The reality is, I think Justin Hill has one year left on his deal. The reality is that Keaton Mitchell is not going to have a huge workload, right? He's a change of pace guy. He's lightning in a bottle. I love Keaton Mitchell's game, but the rigors of the NFL on his body is going to be too much. It's going to be too much. So you want to keep him between 5 to 8, maybe 10 touches a game. That's on the ground and in the passing game. You know what I mean? So that's why I mentioned running back earlier, but we could go in a different direction. We don't necessarily have to add a running back. You talked about that next linebacker. So obviously you have Roquan.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Trenton Simpson.
Okay.
Assuming Patrick Queen's role in that defense. Bookie is a favorite of ours, particularly this late.
I also like Steel Chambers from Ohio State. Very instinctive pass and run game. Just show another guy some love because we always draft Bookie Watson this late, man. I think Chambers has good cover ability. Reads the quarterback's eyes. He could decipher, get to the running back. Speed and athleticism. He showed it with his, I think, combine numbers. So there's a lot of things to like, man. And if he doesn't, he can be a good special teams player as well. So let's go grab Steel Chambers.
Give Steel Chambers a little love here. My guy, Malik Harrison is still on this roster, bro.
Malik, Ohio State.
It seemed like it was a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago. It really wasn't. All right, Hadley, break it down.
At the top, man, we got the Ravens, that X receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. Pair him with Zay Flowers. You got the tight ends, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Got to see him on the field a lot more, man, because he's a talented guy as well. So 2 tight end personnel. I want to see it more for the Baltimore Ravens. But, Brian Thomas Jr. could take the top off the defense, tracks the ball really well, be a red zone threat, yards after catch ability as well. High ceiling for that guy. Next, we went and got Marshawn Nealon, another guy with a high ceiling. We spoke about it before the draft, man. We got to get that pass rusher. We came away with 3 pass rushers. Marshawn Nealon, Gabriel Murphy, and Xavier Thomas, man. You add that to Owe and Ojabo and get after the quarterback, man. Just like the old days with the Baltimore Ravens. Who's after Nealon? Was it Renardo Green? We got Renardo Green, Pooney. Pooney, the interior offensive lineman. Plug him in, man. Plug and play right there, the right guard position for the Baltimore Ravens. Also has the versatility to play some tackle and center as well. So he's a Lego piece, man. You can put him all over that offensive line for Baltimore. Next, we got the sticky man-to-man corner in Renardo Green. And we paired him with his teammate, Jarian Jones, man. It's the slot corner from Florida State. Both of those guys excelled in man coverage this season. So, if you want to send more pressure on the Baltimore Ravens, man, you got guys on the back end that could cover. And then we got Evan Williams, the safety from Oregon. You can put him down in the box, instinctive, come up and tackle. And then I spoke about Xavier Thomas earlier on. And then Steel Chambers, man, I advocated for him to show him some love. He stood out in the combine, very athletic guy. Like him in pass coverage, like him in the run game as well. And he can help the Ravens on the special teams game as well. So, this draft class, man, we went heavy on the defense. We went heavy on the defense for the Ravens. The top pick, we got Brian Thomas Jr. We got Pooney on the interior offensive line. But this is a defensive draft, man, replenishing, getting back to the old style, man, the old school Ravens, man, playing that defense and letting Lamar Jackson and that offense cook on the other side.
Yeah, just need to run the damn ball. Maybe run a little play.
You got Derrick Henry now, so
that'll help.
Let's run the ball, man.
No, they'll run it. They'll run it until they get into the playoffs. Play stupid football.
Come on. Drew, favorite day 3 pick here. Got Green, Murphy, Jones, Williams, Thomas, and Chambers.
Damn. I guess I take the low-hanging fruit. I'm gonna go with Xavier Thomas. I think I picked him before too, with favorite pick on a different team. But yeah, I just like the mix. I guess I can't. When we talk about this team, and it's this obviously an unlikely draft in this scenario because guys were falling and all this other kind of stuff. But Xavier Thomas, Gabriel Murphy, and
Nealon.
And Nealon. I mean, could you imagine what that looks like, bro? And the versatility that offers that gives you in the games you could play up front, mixing, matching, causing all kinds of problems and havoc versus what they were gonna go into the season with, which was some iffy stuff going on there in terms of the pass rush. And so now the corners can feel like we can play comfortably, a little bit more aggressive. Maybe take a couple more chances, right? Because guys up front are going to get to the quarterback or at least affect the play, get the quarterback off his spot. So, yeah, man, I think it's Xavier Thomas in this scenario, man. The speed, the size, the just got to stay healthy, man. I mean, that was probably his biggest problem this year was the health, and so
throughout his college career,
through his entire college career, yeah. So maybe he does go later because of that. Maybe he go right around where he went because of the medicals, right? He can't stay healthy.
I think he definitely kind of slots in that 5th round areas are probably when we start to hear Xavier Thomas's name because of the injury history. At least that's my thought process. I think that will depress his value a little bit. You know, you look at this Ravens team and you think about what happened throughout the season last year, and you know, of course, they bring in Clowney, and Clowney has a career year. They bring in Kyle Van Noy because they just did not have enough teeth in terms of their pass rush, bro. And that's why I was so adamant about, listen, you're right there, bro. You're right there. Go get the difference maker that you need. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you guys mentioned that this team obviously has a litany of areas that they need to address. So it wasn't necessarily tenable in terms of moving up, what it would cost in order to do that. And that's really not the Ravens' MO. They might move back up into around in order to get their quarterback a la Lamar Jackson. But generally speaking, they stay put. They let the board come to them or they move down. So we stay put. We didn't make any trades here with Baltimore. None. Right? And then we were able to net Nealon, Gabriel Murphy, and Xavier Thomas. Now, anything you get from David Ojabo, to me, is gravy. Anything you get from him is gravy. And I don't expect Oweh to get a long-term deal unless the light bulb goes off and he has a phenomenal 2024 campaign. I don't expect him being part of the long-term plans here. So those 3 players, I think, when you talk about what you lose in Clowney, what you lose in terms of, you know, what Van Noy added and trying to add some additional teeth to your pass rush up front, guys who can also play the run. I think those are significant selections. And then when you doubled up here at corner with Green and Jerry and Jones, I think if NFL teams, you know, it's supposed to be a copycat league, right? It's generally a copycat league, right? Teams got to understand, look, man, at some point you got to play some man coverage. And I know the Ravens like to play man coverage. They want to be able to play man coverage. They want to be able to get physical and challenge players, receivers at the line of scrimmage. Green and Jones obviously have demonstrated their ability to do that. So that makes a lot of sense considering some of the players they've lost over the last, you know, couple of off seasons in the secondary. And, you know, Dominic Pooney, as you mentioned, plug and play guy. Voorhees, Pooney, you know, in all likelihood, are your guards. The big question mark for me remains in terms of right tackle. What do you plan on doing there, Ravens fans? And I like the addition of Jones. I like it. I just don't know if they're planning on playing him there. I think he can do it. I think he's perfectly capable of it. But I'm really interested to see what they do at right tackle. But overall, as you mentioned, we took care of everything. We took care of everything. Came in with several needs, and then of course we addressed those needs and added depth. So good stuff here for the Ravens. All right, one more team to get to here in terms of our 7-team mock drafts. You know, I'm gonna keep an eye on this time. It ought to just be one more team, but we're moving fairly quickly this evening. The 49ers, okay? They were a half away from a championship, and unfortunately, they collapsed. They did not have the staying power. There was some questionable decisions in terms of coaching, and the Dre Greenlaw injury, I thought, loomed big in that particular game. Third quarter is when I really think it got away from them. They weren't able to put any drives together, and the Chiefs, been battle tested, obviously been there before. They found a way to win. They made the plays in order to win. So what did the 49ers have to do, Drew, in order to get over the hump? What has to change? Is it a Kyle Shanahan thing? Is it a personnel thing? I do believe that this offensive line certainly needs attention, right? You know, every level of the defense probably could add some talent as well, but the offensive line to me is my primary concern here. What about you?
Yeah, I would say it's the offensive line. But in terms of going into the draft, I don't know that any one player is going to put this team over the top, because the coaching, anytime in the big time games, them boys just, I'm gonna say it, bro, them boys shit the bed. All right. And you can say what you want about Burks being out there running around, but I mean, there was some other things, like you said, with the coaching that just, like, what are we thinking? Like, right? And this ain't a first time offense. You know what I'm saying? He's a habitual line stepper when it comes to the coaching of this team. And then we do the most egregious thing, and we fire the defensive coordinator as if he was the problem. But somebody got to take the blame. I understand, but I don't like it, bro.
I think
like
49ers fans have mixed feelings on the Steve Wilks firing, right? In terms of there seemed to be a disconnect between coach, play calling, and players throughout the season, right? That some 49ers will speak to that. And then in game during the Super Bowl, there were a couple of plays down and distance type situations that just didn't make any sense. And I think Kyle Shanahan actually called the timeout. He probably should have, called another timeout when Kansas City was driving down the field in overtime. Stop the bleeding, get ready for corn dog, because that's what they did to the Eagles. But
right.
They were playing off man coverage, soft kind of coverage, and just kind of giving up first down yardage, whatever the case may be. So I think that also kind of, tipped the scales in terms of, hey, listen, if anything's going to change, it's not going to be me. It's not going to be John Lynch. It's going to be you, right? If there was already some discontent there to begin with, that was kind of the last straw. But to put it squarely on Steve Wilks isn't fair. It just simply isn't fair. Shanahan got away from what he did best, and he had absolutely no answers for cover one and zero in particular. When the Chiefs blitz, they got home. No answers for it. You're supposed to be the offensive guru, man. And that's always kind of been the question mark. It's not that Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a great system and he's able to create opportunities for all of his skill players, but it's those in-game adjustments that continue to kind of elude him in those big games. That's where Andy Reid continues to have the edge. Spags has the edge in terms of those in-game adjustments. The other thing that kind of struck me as odd is I thought this was going to be a George Kittle game in the Super Bowl. I really thought that was the one area that they may be able to take advantage of some matchups, right? We know Debo, Ayuk are very talented, but of course Snead, the aforementioned Snead, who just traded to the Titans here, along with your boy from Washington, who's a baller, right? They were locking things down on the edges, right? They were going to make it hard for your boundary receivers. So George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey in the passing game, you saw what Juwan Jennings did. You guys got to be difference makers, and just didn't get Kittle in the game enough. So, yeah, there's enough blame to go around there, for sure. But offensive line, in terms of between the lines, they struggled. They struggled.
Yeah.
Even Trent Williams didn't have a great game.
Yeah, I think for the 49ers, for this draft, like you said, the offensive line, we got to get a couple bodies in there to fix that offensive line. Someone that fits this zone scheme for Shanahan really well. And even the defensive line. The defensive line is it's a changing of the guard over there. No more Kinlaw, no more Eric Armstead. He's been there forever. Chase Young, he was a rental, but he's gone now. You brought in Malik Collins. I like the Malik Collins pickup. You brought in Leonard Floyd, Gross Matos, and Jordan Elliott. So, it's kind of in flux right now. I think we can add another body to that front four.
Yeah.
And then the corner position. I think the corner position, we can add another corner for the 49ers. And what's interesting with this team is we've heard trade talks with Deebo Samuels. We've heard trade talks with Ayuk. They're top two wide receivers, man. I'm not sure if they want to pay these guys what they want, especially Ayuk coming up on his contract. So maybe getting a wide receiver to – if you want to trade one of those guys.
No, those are great points. And certainly it's things that we need to consider. The receiver conversation is interesting, right? Because we're kind of waiting for the shoe to drop on that one. Are they going to stick with Ayuk? Are they going to, find a number that works to keep both he and Debo at receiver? Or is it kind of a foregone conclusion that he's going to be moved? Or I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. So that does throw a bit of a wrinkle in things here. I think the way Ayuk has developed and just the way Shanahan had really been hard on him initially and really has praised in terms of the work that he's put in and the receiver that he's become, I don't think they want to let him go, but it's going to have to be at their price, I would imagine. So let's get it started here. Let's get it started here. Let's see how things unfold with the 49ers. Quinion, Olu.
If this is a team we want to trade up for, it's done now. But if a guy like Fautanu is dropping or
sure,
one of those offensive linemen, Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Powers Johnson and Fashanu on the board.
Oh man,
That's ridiculous.
that's perfect. That's perfect for these guys. Man.
Yo.
So Henry, you talked about the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about fits. And while Fashanu moves as well as anybody, right, in this class, he and Fontanu kind of stand out to me in terms of their movement abilities. Do you think Fashanu plays with the requisite physicality to be a 49er in this instance?
See, that's what you see on tape, where the physicality is not always there with Fashanu. You know, he was our offensive tackle one coming into the season, and you know, I'm gonna call it. Joe Alt just had a flat out better season than him in 2023, and he's moved up my board. He's ahead of Fashanu right now. You know, I think Alt is ready to go. So I don't think Olu, I'm gonna call him Olu. I don't think he falls this far in the draft, but I understand the people that's saying that he's not going to be the first offensive tackle off the board, and he might not be the second or third offensive tackle off the board. I'll draft him as my offensive tackle too, but you know that the power game.
Alt has separated himself.
Yeah, Joe Alt has separated himself. You watch the Michigan game, also the Ohio State game. You see him struggle a little bit with power with JT Tuamalo and those guys. You know, he didn't really lose that much reps and allow sacks, except for that when he got bull rushed into the quarterback. But you saw him. You saw those guys take him off his base, take him off his anchor a little bit. So I can't pass him up here at 31, man. He's too good of a player to pass him up. Even though I also like Jackson Powers Johnson, he'll fit excellent in this scheme. Plug and play guy. He fits that zone scheme that Shanahan likes to run. So, do we get the interior guy or the guy on the outside? That's going to be the question right now. But I'm leaning Fashanu because I just have him higher in my board right now than Jackson Powers Johnson.
I would lean towards Fashanu as well because, you know, Trent Williams can't play forever, bro. He can't play forever, right? Fashanu could be your left tackle at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I think about it from that perspective. You obviously have a need at right tackle. We think he has the ability to obviously play right tackle. And then ultimately, long term, he's your in-house replacement for Trent Williams. That's the way I see it. And I'm with you. At this point, I think I wouldn't be able to pass him up, even with the Powers Johnson on the board here. Drew?
Bro, y'all boys have talked to death, bro. It's
we said everything.
Bro. Yeah,
we said everything already. Yeah. I think to your point, Headley, there's a legitimate chance that he slides. We have seen this in mock drafts, and we fought it. We're like, wait, this has gone too far. But to your point, I think where we've settled on things is the fact that Alt has separated himself. It's no longer a 1A, 1B conversation for us. He's certainly the top tackle in the class. Fashanu being the second tackle, he falls to us at 31 here. So let's go with him to the Niners. And assuming Fashanu wasn't there, assuming he wasn't available, who are you targeting at that point? You know, there's Graham Barton, of course, Jackson Powers Johnson, although we're not anticipating him being available that late either. Graham Barton seems like a really great fit as well. He seems like a really great fit. And I think Kingsley out of BYU, obviously, you know, he has some work to do. But moving him back to right tackle, I think will help in terms of his transition to the next level. He's a very young player. He was 20 just a couple months ago. He just turned 21 in January. So still a very young player there.
That's more likely who the pick would be, I think. In reality, probably would be Kingsley.
Yeah, Jordan Morgan, I think there's certainly a high for him. I don't know about how he moves in space, though.
Yeah,
right?
I don't
he seems like a phone booth player in my eyes, and I even prefer him. I think he projects much better as a guard than a tackle. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Edrin Cooper. All right. We're good. We go with Edrin Cooper here.
That's not even a discussion at this point.
Man, Greenlaw got hurt, man. We saw what it meant to that defense, man.
Yeah. So here's my question. So if you draft Edrin Cooper here, are you playing all three linebackers? Are we saying the hell with the nickel? Is that what we're doing?
And they bring in Devondre Campbell as well, too.
So that's a good point. That's a good point.
What's the corners looking like?
Max Melton is your top corner on the board. Let's see the offers.
And are they changing their
9 spots?
not the entirety of the scheme, but maybe are they going to do a more man thing versus going zone? Like what, or is everything just going to kind of stay?
I think, and again, this goes back to my point. You know, Omar mentioned it, right? The Kansas City Chiefs defense carried them last year, right? And because they were able to play physical man coverage. They were able to play physical man coverage, bro. They were buttoned up at the second level. Nick Bolton, I think he's still underrated, right? In fact, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, and this is not obviously a Chiefs mock draft, but you know, Spags, some of those blitzes that he dialed up, he checked in with Bolton first. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of been a reoccurring theme in terms of our conversations as far as the best teams in the NFL having legitimate second level linebacker play. There's a reason, bro. There's a reason why we continue to kind of beat that drum, because it makes a difference. It clearly made a difference last year. So I think just throughout the NFL, I would expect more teams to be a bit more aggressive in terms of pass coverage. I think most of these quarterbacks are just simply too good to you know, fall into kind of a soft zone. And you know, if you're not getting that quick pressure, with under 2.5 seconds, then your zone's going to get picked apart. You know, I know teams are running a lot of cover 6, whatever the case may be, and that's fine. With your too deep look, it kind of confuses teams. You know, but you got to have the pass rush to match up with that. You know what I'm saying? And there comes a time where you got to go zero.
What edges out there? I see Max Melton out there. What edges out there? Jonah, Adisa, Dorless, Austin Booker. Some good edges out there. Yeah, I'm looking at edge corner.
I'm gonna get to 94. Just keep that in mind. Edge corner. Lots of corners.
Yeah, it's lots of corners.
This is how strongly you feel about those guys. And here are your offensive linemen if you wanted to double down. And we talked about receiver, right? The potential of either Ayuk or Debo not being in San Francisco.
Kyle Shanahan will probably be salivating over Malachi Corley. What he does after the catch. You know, he likes those guys after the catch, and Corley is one of the best in this draft class after the catch, man. He's like a running back once he gets the ball in his hands. They compared him to Debo Samuel, so you know that's all that you enough said about Malachi Corley when you get that comparison to Debo.
Brendan Rice, you know, I wouldn't be, you know, for obvious reasons, right? You know, Jerry, of course, but having that body type, adding that body type to the receiving room might not be a bad idea. Maybe in the third here.
Yeah, Omar. They lost a couple of defensive tackles, Armstead and Kinlaw, but they brought in Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott. So those Malik Collins, I thought that was a really good pickup, and they still have Javon Hargrave, who they got from the Eagles last season. So yeah, it's new faces, but you know they did a good job there. It's the edge. I think it's the edge that needs more work. You got Leonard Floyd and Gross Matos. We liked Gross Matos coming out, but you know he wasn't good enough to pan out in Carolina. So he might be better. New team with the 49ers, but Leonard Floyd is an Asian player, so you need that young bull next to Nick Bosa. So I'm looking at those edges.
I wonder how much stock, how much they're counting on, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Andre Jackson,
USC.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was a second round selection, and he offered an interesting skill set. So injuries have kind of derailed things to this point, but I wonder if they're saying, hey, listen, he's about ready to go. And I like Gross Matos a lot coming out of Penn State. It didn't come to fruition, so. Let's see, you know, with some different coaching, whether or not, you know, that reclamation project can bear fruit.
Oh, corner, man.
Drew, corner still,
yeah.
Come on,
corner looks like a need also.
Yeah. Y'all boys doing a whole bunch of talking, bro.
That's what you say.
Get in there.
So hold on. So are we foregoing because the initial conversation was Edgerrin Cooper, so we just foregoing that.
Hadley went for.
Nah,
I'm always down for Cooper.
I didn't say. All I said was they signed Campbell also. That's all I said.
Right, well let me look up the contract right quick. Let me just see if it's a 1-year deal. Then we might have to reassess.
And Greenlaw, is he coming back week 1?
No.
Yeah,
I would be shocked.
We might have to go get Edgerrin Cooper then. If you're telling me Greenlaw is not coming back until the middle of the season, and Devontae Campbell's on a 1-year deal, then
it looked like Greenlaw is in the last year of his deal as well.
Yeah, Edge Cooper, man. Let's do it, bro.
All right, there you go, Drew. There you go.
See, y'all did all that talk. I said 5 words, and we back there. We back to the original.
Oh man. We use the entire shot clock. The entire shot clock, bro, to make our picks.
No. We would have had to trade way up. I was thinking about trading up for Malachi Corley, but that would have been too rich for our blood. That's not up.
It's your corner. Abrams Drain on the board. Cam Hart.
Nah, I feel about Cam Hart, bro.
Yeah, they like they big corners over there, man.
Gotta move up, Dana.
Gotta slide up into something. Gotta get up in there. I think Cam Hart's the pick, bro.
Think Cam Hart's the pick?
Yeah.
Show up that secondary.
Austin Booker. Talked about Edge. This Isaac. Brendan Rice. We could do it, you know what I'm saying? Just one time.
How about offensive line? What's out there?
They can use a center.
Yeah, Van Pran.
Maybe we go Van Pran here. So if we give up Van Pran,
they may be locked in with Brendel. They may be locked in with Brendel.
You might have locked in with him?
Maybe.
Let's ease off it then. Let's ease off it.
Yeah, a right guard.
I don't love Brendel, but yeah.
John Feliciano.
They do need a guard.
Yeah, get a guard.
Do we wait on that?
I think we wait on that at this point.
We can wait. We can wait on it.
We can wait on it. All right.
Nah, let's go get Cam Hart, man.
Cam Hart?
Yeah.
All right. We won't get a debate from me.
Yeah, man. Long outside corner, got some speed, got good ball skills, come up and tackle. Mm-hmm. It's a plug and play starter, man.
All right.
Okay, so
there go your Brendan Rice.
Quite a few. He's still there. Interesting.
That is your Brendan Rice, bro.
That is the Brendan Rice, bro. Let's go Brendan Rice. Check that just real quick.
Jerry's son.
It is Jerry's son.
Giving up
Jerry's son.
Kamara.
Listen, Jerry's son plays with the chip on his shoulder, bro.
Oh yeah.
Jerry's son plays angry.
He run his routes angry. Real angry. Yeah.
Yeah, Dana. Edgerrin Cooper is I shouldn't say easily. Yeah, easily linebacker 1 for me. With Wilson's history, he's easily linebacker 1 for me.
It's close for me.
All right. It is close. It is close. But for me, I won't even think twice about it because of Wilson's. He's an older player, obviously, and the injury history. I wouldn't even think twice about it. All right. A+ for the Brendan Rice selection. All right, we got 132, 135 here. This draft is looking mighty good here in the early goings. A lot of good football players still on the board.
What's there for offensive line?
Up front. You want to go back to offensive line?
Mason McCormick
is still there.
And Bortolini.
Mason McCormick's still there, bro.
Man, nasty, bro.
Physical, bro. Yeah, he's disgusting, bro. That's what he is. Boy, greasy out there, man.
I think
Disgusting
Deshaun
greasy.
Gibson is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So we probably need to add a safety here as well. Hufanga is he's back. He should be back healthy, but I think it's a 1 year remaining on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. So Mason McCormick.
Pull the trigger, bro. Let's get nasty. Pause.
All right.
All right, we fixed that old line right there.
Offensive line in much better shape.
All right.
All right. What do they have behind McCaffrey at running back?
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah still got
injuries.
Got a year in this deal. Yeah, of course. Mitchell's
a lot of injuries.
He has dealt with a lot of injuries.
And Jordan Mason. So yeah, we could go running back.
We could try the front four. We could look at the front
four. I'm okay
four.
with the front four. I'm just thinking ahead a little bit.
Mokamar. Yeah, let's get him, bro.
Do it.
Damn, he's still. They shouldn't have been there, bro.
Well, no. It's right there. Right on the cusp. Right. Yeah. Right on the cusp of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth round, top of the fifth round there. So, I think that's reasonable. Perfectly comfortable drafting him earlier than that, but I think that's not crazy. The safety position. Baki, Bobre, Taiki.
Taiki can play that nickel for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. I would like to add Garendo to this particular offense, this scheme. That speed would be a nice fit, but I would prioritize Taiki. For Key Randolph and an even man front. Who's your boy Holker?
They ain't using the tight end like that.
Nah, they got Latu, bro. They good, bro. Cam Latu behind Kittle.
All right, we good with Tyke Smith right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're good with it.
All right, so let's go with Tyke.
That's your boy from Latu. That's your boy from Alabama, isn't it, Mr. Inconsistent?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That guy.
He was supposed to be the next coming, bro, at the tight end position. Just never happened.
Got another interior defensive lineman too. More bodies on the interior.
Keith Randolph's still there.
There it is.
Go grab him.
There go Keith. Keith, we gonna get you right, bro.
Cody Schrader fit this scheme really well. If you want to back a running back, got my boy Rasheen Ali too.
Go Cody Schrader. I'm okay with it. Williams, Dominic Hampton.
Safety.
That third safety, yeah.
So we got the nickel, we got the corner, and then we go get the safety after we get what is Schrader ranked? We can't wait on him. I think he's the next running back up.
216. They're a couple of ahead of him, but we're at the very end at 251. We're virtually at the end. So I don't know that Hampton will be available.
Yeah, he's been going way easy. I'm surprised he's still on the board, actually.
Yeah.
You
want to prioritize the safety over the running back? I'm okay either way. Just tell me.
Let's go running back.
You want to go running back?
Yeah, let's do a running back.
All right.
I ain't scared, bro.
Getting Hufanga back. You are getting him back, right? And you got your boy
Jair Brown, Penn State.
Jair Brown. Yep. Well, I think he'll be better with a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more experience this past season. I think he'll be a better player next year. All right. Among the safeties, you have Trey Taylor and Damani Richardson. You know me, I like my Damani Richardson.
Yeah, the Michigan offensive lineman. Can't go wrong with Michigan.
Nugent and Henderson.
There's gonna be a lot of good Michigan players at the next level from that football team.
And the boys pro ready.
Mm-hmm.
The boys is pro ready.
All right. Who do you prefer, Nugent or Henderson?
I think Henderson got more versatility. I know Drew like that versatility.
And what about from a scheme perspective?
I think that's where you might run into some issues maybe with the scheme. Go to edge real quick. I just want to see something.
Grayson Murphy.
Solomon Bird. Sabatia Anderson. What was that? A Jordan Davis
Amari
out there?
Gaynor. Isn't that a Seminole right there, bro?
Former Seminole.
Oh, okay, not Seminole no more.
Gotta give him the former, bro.
Former.
No love, bro. None. Let's grab the safety, bro.
Trey Taylor?
You said Fred Taylor.
Trey.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, Fred, where Fred at, bro? Where that safety been at all my draft, bro?
You want to give your boy Damani some love, bro?
I'm saying.
My bad.
I
don't think we've given him any love. Ranked 310, bro. Actually, I think I might have dropped him in one other draft.
How did Damani get invited to the combine? Did he get invited?
I don't think so, bro.
I don't remember seeing him. I seen another Richardson out, the other Richardson. I was like, look at Damani. I'm like, oh no, that's not Damani. That's he had a similar name. It's escaping me right now.
Let me see. Damani Richardson.
No, they got him at a 4.6 at the combine.
Ooh,
okay.
That's smooth
4.6.
4.6.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's the money.
All right.
Yeah, there aren't many players smarter than Damani Richardson in this class, bro, in terms of football IQ, bro. But they hated it. D+. Oof, rough.
Well, he's 310, right, bro.
Yeah, I know. It happens. He's supposed to be undrafted. According to mock draft database, he should have been undrafted. But I like Damani Richardson. I think he'll find a way to stick on the NFL roster. Olu Fashanu falls to us at 31 overall, 31st overall pick. Edrin Cooper also falls to us, 63rd overall pick. The way our thought process here, it's obvious up front, right? The right side of the 49ers offensive line obviously needs work. Trent Williams can't play forever, so Fashanu, we plug him in at right tackle. He's an excellent mover. There's some things that he needs to work on in terms of the physicality aspect of the game, but I believe those are areas that he can improve. And then ultimately, he becomes your left tackle when Trent Williams moves on. Edrin Cooper, again, we get him as a value, even as a second round pick, and of course, the depreciation associated with it. Yeah, the depreciation associated with the linebacker position. I think it needs to be a course correction there. I mentioned it earlier. I'll mention it again. The best teams in NFL, if you take a look at them, you go team by team, they had excellent linebacker play. Now, if you can get those guys later, great. But I wouldn't rule out prioritizing them a little earlier in the draft. And that's what we did here with Edrin Cooper, with Dre Greenlaw coming off the injury and Devontae Campbell coming in on a 1-year deal, right? He's kind of a insurance plan, I would imagine, for Greenlaw. But with Cooper, we're in much better position here. We can actually move off of Greenlaw entirely going into 2025. So if we are so inclined, Cam Hart, again, one of my favorite players in this draft class. He's moving up the draft board, and I think he represents really good value in the third round. It's an area that the 49ers need to improve upon. They have decent defensive backs, corners, right? Those players are decent. I think Cam Hart can be a notch above that, a notch or two above that, right? He offers a lot in terms of his length, his size, and I think he'll make for a really good boundary corner here, especially if you're playing on that cover 3 defense. Brendan Rice falls to us at 124. So with these first four selections, even first 5, I think all these players kind of came at a value, right? We're thinking Mason McCormick might work his way into the third round. I don't think Brendan Rice gets out of the third round, considering how he performed in the pre-draft process, and he put together another good season at USC. Cam Hart won't shock me, and I know people gave me a hard time earlier in the pre-draft process about Cam Hart. Wouldn't shock me if he gets picked in the second round. Cooper, there's been some rumblings about him being in the first round. I don't think it's going to happen, but again, at the end of the second round, I think that comes at a value. So, ton of value with these.
Why they gave you a hard time on Cam Hart, man? I missed that.
I just don't think people were aware of him.
Okay.
They weren't aware of him. So, I did the 3-round mock draft, all 32 teams. I did a solo one earlier, back in February, and this was before the
Senior Bowl.
combine.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been right on the heels of the Senior Bowl, right? And people are still trying to familiarize themselves with those players. And unless you're tuning into NBC, you know what I'm saying? You're generally not going to see Notre Dame, right? And they got games on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Goal Line. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know a lot of people outside of Notre Dame fans tuning in to watch Notre Dame football. You understand what I'm saying? But I thought Cam Hart was terrific this year, right? And the thing about Cam Hart is that his body type is not common. You generally don't get a ton of a ton of defensive backs with his size, with his arm length. You understand what I'm saying? This is a legit 6'3". This is a legit 6'3" here. You know what I mean? So he offers a unique chess piece in terms of matching up against some of these bigger receivers in the NFL. So that was a pushback. I think it was just a lack of awareness about him. But now that he's been able to go to the combine and demonstrate what he's able to do, the national pundits talking him up a bit. Now people are starting to catch on there.
Yeah. Before you go on to the next guy, what I do like about Cam Hart too.
Dana.
What he can't do is to focus. What I do like about him also is he played all three cornerback positions at Notre Dame. Left side, right side. You see him in the slot. You see him play zone. I know the hips might not be the most fluid, but like you said, 6'3". I think he'd be actually fit in this zone scheme. 49ers click and close, play the football in the air. But I like his versatility to play any three cornerback positions on the field.
He's a well-rounded player. I think that's the other part of it, as you mentioned, Heather, you're alluding to it in terms of his ability to play all those positions at the corner is the football IQ as well. He has the measurables, right? He has a bigger corner that you look for, and it allows him to remain in phase because of his wingspan, because of his size, his length, right? But I think what gets lost in translation to a certain degree is how smart of a football player he is. The route recognition associated with what he does. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, I expect Cam Hart to go well before the 94th overall pick. We move into day 3, Mo Kamara. Again, that's a favorite of ours. The production is obvious. We try to replenish this down line. That is the hallmark of this cover 3 scheme, is to be able to get home with 4 and have that rotation of pass rushers. So Kamara obviously comes in and helps out there. Tyke Smith can play our nickel, right? He can be a safety in your base, but certainly he can play your nickel. And the base of these days is 5 defensive backs. Let's not kid ourselves. So Tyke is one of the better nickels in this class, getting him at 176. Again, great value. Keith Randolph, Drew, you can get in there, talk about your boy, man. We got him in an even man front, so he can attack now.
Yep, head downhill, nice first step, big body, can cause some havoc up front. I don't know, a lot of people haven't talked about him because, Jerzon Newton is the one kind of getting all the love. Sure. He's the one, that flashes on tape consistently, while I think Randolph was a little bit more of the guy doing the dirty work and taking on the double teams and trying to keep the linebackers free and safeties free. And so I think whoever gets Keith Randolph, I don't want to say it's a steal, but they're going to be pleasantly surprised at what he can do. And they're going to be like, well, where the hell was this at? And this is one of those things where you kind of dig into the tape and you find out this is some bullshit he's in right now, right? And so you realize, damn, if he was only playing in a scheme that worked for him, and could you imagine what him and Jerzon Newton could have done in the defense that would have worked for them versus working against them to make everyone else in the defense fit, right? It was just silly, man. It was just silly. So, yeah, I like the fit along with the players that'll be around him. You don't got to do it all by himself, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Great landing spot for both Kamara and Randolph here. Yep. Cody Schrader, I think Schrader's ability kind of works with any scheme, but certainly this zone scheme, will put his full complement of skills on display. The way he catches the football out of the backfield will be a welcome addition as well. Of course, it's McCaffrey's offense, right? He's the linchpin, but Cody Schrader, again, his skill set is reminiscent of McCaffrey, not to that degree, obviously, but reminiscent of McCaffrey's skill set. And then we gave Damani Richardson some love here. We added another safety to the mix. Tayshaun Gibson's an unrestricted free agent. I think Damani Richardson, and that was my whole point coming into the season, right? When we were doing summer scouting, whatever the case may be, the whole question was, how was he going to test? What type of athlete was he, right? high football IQ, always around the football, quarterback of the defense, right? Makes plays every week in the SEC, but everybody was enthralled with Antonio Johnson when it was Damani Richardson and Edwin Cooper that were the mainstays on that defense. You understand what I'm saying? So, but he didn't necessarily jump off the page as an elite athlete. And as you've noticed throughout the athletic testing in this draft cycle, some of these top safeties, they're not testing particularly well.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it goes back to the fact that at that position, I don't need necessarily a superior athlete. Would I like one? Yes, absolutely. But I don't think you have to be a triathlete in order to actually be an effective safety in the NFL, right? You have to understand where you're supposed to be, understand your keys, play recognition, be able to a good open field tackler, and be competent when the ball is in the air. You understand what I'm saying? And I think Damani Richardson certainly has that ability. The mock draft database, not so much, not so high on him, but I think he certainly has that ability.
Well, let me. Wasn't last year? I don't think the safeties tested well last year either, if I'm not mistaken.
Right? No, they didn't. And they
so,
were smaller last season.
And they were much smaller.
And a guy who I think I think it was kind of a mixed bag on him, especially after the combine, was Kyle Hamilton. He didn't test well, did he? From what I remember,
4.6.
Poorly actually.
Yeah.
So, and look at him. Look at me now. What's that song? Yeah. Look at me now.
It's overblown. It's overblown.
Yeah.
People are going to be out on Tyler Nubin now. They've been down on Cam Kitchen since his RAS score came out. And it's like that's not what translates on the field for these guys.
Watch the tape, bro.
We've seen the workout warriors at the safety position, and they're nowhere to be found. They're always out leveraged. You know what I'm saying? They're always a step behind. So I believe that there are certain positions where the athletic testing obviously carries more weight, and again, athleticism is a good thing, but if you're solely depending on that, if that's your only calling card, then you're not going to be a successful safety. You're not going to be. So I like it. This team is undergoing some changes here, but I think we kind of reloaded it. You know what I mean? I think we keep everybody healthy. We can make another run at it. And
we steadied the ship, and kept them on course, man, for another run. So yeah, big time, man. I like it a lot.
Let me get your favorite day 3 picks.
Day 3 pick, yeah, man. I'm gonna go with Tyke Smith from Georgia. We talked about he's a nickel corner. He's a safety nickel corner hybrid. We've seen what Brian Branch is doing in the league right now. He's a 4.4 speed guy. He played that star role at Georgia, so you like him kind of closer to the line of scrimmage. And if you think about tight ends around the league, especially in the NFC, I think he covers tight ends really well in the passing game. You got Trey McBride in his division. You got Sam Laporta for Detroit. You got Dallas Goedert for Philadelphia. Those are the teams that they need to get past. And I think he can come down and cover those tight ends. Or you want to go Kyle Pitts in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins now. So, there's a lot of good tight ends in the NFC. I think he could be one of those guys where it's a matchup. We're going to put them on our tight end, and he could cover those guys down the field. And, like I said, he's aggressive, and he could tackle also. So I like Tyke Smith, my favorite day 3 pick here for the 49ers.
It's a great point, Adam, because that really frees up Fred Warner and in this case, Edwin Cooper as well, right? Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
I'm going to go Mason McCormick, and I'm going to go because we talked about – scroll it real quick. We talked about Olu in terms of his maybe not being the most physical, so now he's dropping down the board. Well, I'm going to tell you who is physical, and that's Mason McCormick. And if Trent Williams is out, Olu replaces him, well, then we can slide in Mason McCormick, and he brings in the nasty, right? We just need Olu to do his job, and we know he's going to do it effectively, just he doesn't bring that extra – he may not bring that extra element of physicality. Mason will make up for him, and don't worry about it. I like my interior guys to be a little bit more nasty than my tackles. I like my interior guys to start fights, bro. I like to see the yellow on the floor. Right? Yeah, man. So, what's your boy from he didn't play this past year. They call him the Ginger. He actually retired. Bucks center. Oh my God, Ryan Jensen. Jensen. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Richie Incognito types. That's what you.
By the way, your boy Luke Gadecki, bro, he be talking crazy, bro.
Oh, really?
Yes, really? He be talking crazy to people, bro. I love it, bro. I love it.
Gotta get that nasty, bro.
Yeah, bro.
All the way through the whistle.
They weren't
Past the whistle,
day
bro.
3 picks.
After the
They
whistle,
weren't day
ain't
3
it?
picks, but on day 2, we got 2 of my favorite players in the class, Edgerrin Cooper and Cam Hart. And Dana, I think your point here regarding Hart is really poignant. You know, people are concerned or focused, they're fixated on the things that he may not necessarily do particularly well, and not really paying closer attention to what he does well. And there's a lot that he does well. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not pretty. He's not silky smooth out there. You know what I mean? It just, he's not one of those types of athletes. But I think he presents a unique challenge that a lot of receivers just don't encounter on most Sundays. You understand what I'm saying? That physicality and that length is going to be a problem. And as I mentioned before, teams are going to have to play more man coverage if they want to get off the field, if they want to disrupt timing, if they want to be able to get that stop at some point. You're going to have to force the quarterback to get the ball out of his hands early via cover 0, and your corners are going to have to be able to hold up and disrupt, and Cam Hart certainly is capable of that. All right. It did not happen, Mr. C. Presley. We did not allow it. No Kalen King to the 49ers. That's going to do it. That's going to do it for tonight's show. As I always mention, but go ahead, Drew. Go ahead. You take it. You take it, bro. Go ahead.
I got it, bro. I appreciate you, man. Y'all boys, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and
head over to YouTube, man.
Head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and listen. At the end of the day got to end, bro.
At the end of the day, the day got to end. That's it right there.
Listen.
At the end of the day, the day got to end.
One of the most ridiculous. I can't, bro.
Makes so much sense though. It makes so much sense.
It really does though.
Oh man.
What was the other one I sent y'all? I forgot. I already
let me see it. Let me see if I can
find it, bro. Oh yeah, this is how it is. This is how it goes. When it's all said and done, it's all done and said, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it,
wrap, bro.
Drop the mic, bro. Drop the mic, bro.
Check out our promo code with Underdog Fantasy, promo code CPGM. Check out the link in the description.
Juke, no.
2x your first deposit. Take advantage. You know, you can get it. You can get on that in March Madness right now. Take advantage of it. So, hey, Juke on it.
We'll see y'all later, man.
Stamp it. We'll check out this upcoming Tuesday, man. Take it easy.